Chapter 2105 Great Sun God Mountain Again. Chapter 2105 Great Sun God Mountain Again. Boss, why do I feel that we're suffering a loss? Chiu Rang said. There were people on the side shaking their heads. I feel like we're suffering a loss too, but we've already paid the god crystals, so we can only move in. Yi Mo agreed. Many people heard this and shook their heads, but no one came up to say anything. There's a formation in front. Chiu Rang charged in the shop but was bounced back. Even Dao molding divine emperors who weren't experienced in formation wouldn't be able to see this defense formation. Everyone saw Chiu Rang was blocked and didn't show any shock. Yi Mo already saw there was this defense formation. He was also thinking about why there would be a stealth defense formation, but he didn't care. Since this shop was his, he could remove it at any time. Now that Chiu Rang was blocked, Yi Mo realized he was tricked. Immortal friend, you must not touch this formation. If you do, you must. One immortal emperor primary stage who couldn't take it anymore said. Mph, who's talking shit? A sneer sounded and a man appeared before the immortal emperor. No one saw where he came from. The immortal emperor's face changed and was about to leave. You want to leave? You just rammed my formation and startled my immortal pet. You want to leave like that? The man said again. The immortal emperor's face looked bad and he quickly said, I didn't touch your formation. The man sneered and interrupted, then who did it? Point it out and I'll go easy on you. The king did. What are you going to do? My boss bought this shop. Did you set up the formation in front of our shop? If it's you then good, I was looking for someone to compensate me. Chiu Rang learned a loud mouth after being with Shadowless. He heard that boss dared to call himself king in front of immortal emperors when he was only an immortal king. Now that he did this, he felt very satisfied. Ha 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 ha, a mere immortal king. The man was so angry he laughed. Did you guys set up the stealth defense formation in this shop? Yi Mo finally realized why there was a 3-foot small bear in the formation. Yi Mo raised Zi Shu and sliced. This stealth formation was immediately torn to pieces. Chiu Rang grabbed that bear. The small bear was about to dash out, but after just a few steps it was caught by Chiu Rang. You dare to break the young castle master's formation, you? The man pointed at Yi Mo in shock. Piss off. Yi Mo slapped. Although this man was also immortal emperor cultivation level, he was slapped away a few hundred meters. People saw there was fighting going on and immediately moved away. Before the man got up, he found that all his meridians had been broken with this slap. How could the man not know he met someone tough? He immediately crawled up and didn't dare to say a word before running off. The people on the streets didn't dare to come near Yi Mo's shop, but more and more people gathered, clearly knowing there was a show to watch soon. Yi Mo knew this shop wouldn't be simple. He let Chiu Rang go inside to organize the shop while he set up the formation again. However, Yi Mo was bewildered that even when he fixed the formation, no one came. Yi Mo wrote the words Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower and took out a pile of pills and magic artifact for Chiu Rang to lay. The main purpose of this place was to forge top-level immortal artifact and immortal pill for others. Of course, he would take god art orders too. Yi Mo was an outsider and offended people he shouldn't have. No one expected Yi Mo to stay well here. But Yi Mo's shop's name was too shocking. There were pill towers and forgery towers in the city, and both of them combined. But their power was absurd. They had a bunch of immortal pill grandmasters and even divine pill masters. But even so, they only named themselves pill towers, not divine towers. There was no way there was high-level pill divines. Even the worst pill divine couldn't come to a place like this city. Yi Mo's name shocked everyone. When they saw that there really was low-grade god art and even low-grade god pills, everyone was shocked. This shop that suddenly appeared sold better pills than the best pill towers in the city. From this, one could see that Luo Yu must have a pill divine. Immediately, everyone took note of this place. When god pill and god arts appeared, they used their savings without hesitation to buy. They were scared someone would come to this place to look for trouble and this place would no longer exist. Yi Mo called out Shadowless too, and on the first day of opening, they were happily busy. In one day, Yi Mo collected many precious god spirit items and even a few Dao wave god fruits. They weren't Dao fruits, but it was still pretty good. May I ask if the owner is here? Shi Cheng Castle is here to visit. A loud voice sounded as a Tao molding divine emperor appeared in the shop. Hearing this voice, the immortals inside all disappeared in just a few seconds. I am, and you interrupted my business. Yimo's tone went cold. The middle-aged man didn't seem to mind Yimo's tone and laughed. Then I'll apologize to you. I'm Zun Hongyi. I'm just a messenger for Shi Cheng Castle. Our castle master has invited you to discuss things at the Shi Cheng Castle. What thing is your castle master? Does he deserve to invite me? Yimo said plainly. To Yimo, they were going to fight sooner or later. There was no point in acting nice. If he could beat them, then so be it. If not, he would leave the city. Zun Hongyi's face changed, but his manners were good. He just smiled. Our castle master is our ambassador for Great Sun God Mountain. He's not something. Since you want our castle master to come over, I shall bring the message to him. Yimo frowned. The Great Sun God Mountain was everywhere. He had gone away so far, but he could still see their people. This definitely meant that Great Sun God Mountain had a hidden teleportation formation. He spent a decade to come here, but they could teleport here instantly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2106 Shadowless against Young Castle Master. Chapter 2106 Shadowless against Young Castle Master. Other people were scared of the Great Sun God Mountain, but Yimo wasn't. Seeing Zun Hongyi sneer there, Yimo lifted his leg. Since you've brought your words, then piss off. Zun Hongyi thought that Yimo was scared by his words. These few years, the Great Sun God Mountain was very powerful, but Yimo still dared to tell him to piss off. Who was he? Or was Yimo just an idiot? Seeing Yimo kick over, Zun Hongyi couldn't contain his anger anymore. He was a Tao molding divine emperor and came to invite this immortal emperor, but this immortal emperor dared to be like this to him. His divine emperor domain was immediately about to expand and he was about to kick back, but soon, his face changed. He found his domain was completely bound and his leg only kicked halfway before Yimo kicked his bones. There was a crack and Zun Hongyi knew his leg broke. He resisted his shock and instantly disappeared. This person's power was far stronger than he had expected. He was even stronger than their castle master. Such a terrifying person had to hide his cultivation level to immortal emperor. He didn't come for that young castle master. He came because he heard there was god pills here and came on the order of the castle master. Just when Zun Hongyi left, another person came to the shop, immortal emperor middle stage, and didn't seem very old. Fu Fei, greet Tower Master. The immortal emperor bowed. Yimo said slowly, you were watching on the side just then. What do you want? WN Bei want to persuade Qian Bei to quickly leave the city. The Shi Cheng Castle has a Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage and his from the Great Sun God Mountain. The Great Sun God Mountain is very dominant and the young castle master's hands are stained with blood. Every day, people die to him in the city. Fu Fei said genuinely. I don't know you, why are you telling me this? Are you not scared the castle would get revenge on you? Fu Fei said hatefully, because the shop Qian Bei is at is a property of the Fu God Corner. It was passed to my master, but that young castle master used a ridiculous excuse to annihilate my master and everyone around him. I was a hidden disciple and thus was able to stay alive. I'm staying here to find an opportunity to kill him and leave. Yimo suddenly bound Fu Fei's voice. His spirit sense saw a Tao actualization divine emperor coming over. Dong'an came just to invite Tower Master to come to my Shi Cheng Castle. My men was very rude, please forgive them. A long-bearded man appeared at Yimo's shop. His tone was nice and calm like a WN Bei talking to Qian Bei. He was indeed a Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage. If he had the chance, he would be able to reach Tao essence divine emperor at any time. Yimo was studying Dong'an, but Dong'an was also studying Yimo. Yimo wasn't here for long, but he had gotten too many news. Each news pointed that this Tower Master wasn't simple, whether it was injuring Zun Hongyi with one kick or his pill divine capability. What shocked him even more was that he was Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage but still couldn't see if Yimo hid his cultivation level. There meant that either Yi Mo's stealth cultivation method was very powerful or Yi Mo was stronger than him. That's why he spoke carefully. Yi Mo said calmly, since Castle Master Dong came personally, it would be too rude of me to not go. Shadowless and Qiu Rang, come with me, the shop will be closed for now. Fu Fei, do you want to come visit the castle with me? Yi Mo asked. Fu Fei immediately knew what Yi Mo meant. Yi Mo was letting him be familiar with the castle to find a weakness. Wn Bei is willing to go with Qian Bei, Fu Fei said without hesitation. When Yi Mo entered the city, his spirit sense scanned across the entire city. There were spirit sense barriers everywhere, but Yi Mo didn't force it open with his spirit sense blades. He was certain that even the city lord estate wasn't as luxurious and pretty as Shicheng Castle. The 20 kilometers of road in front of the castle was made with god crystals. This was an extreme display of wealth. Many immortals had to search outside just for a few god crystals to cultivate, but here, it was the ground. In an extremely huge golden palace in the castle, the four sat on the guest side while Dong An and Zun Hongyi sat at the top. Yi Mo looked. There was also another Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Such power was quite good even amongst divine Dao realm sects. Dong An was very polite and kept sending up immortal spirit fruits and god spirit teas. Castle Lord Dong's palace is quite amazing. There's probably a few god spirit ranges under here, right? It seems Castle Lord Dong is quite good at collecting wealth. You can even build such pretty castle in the divine Dao realm. Dong An acted as though he didn't realize Yi Mo's scorn. He smiled. Compared to Tower Master, my accomplishment is nothing. Tower Master is a pill divine, you only need a few years to surpass me. I haven't asked for your name yet. I'm Yi Mo. Just when Yi Mo said this, an extremely cocky and furious voice sounded. Who dares to break my formation and take away the power of my immortal emperor? An immortal emperor middle stage man wearing red robes appeared. There was a Dao molding divine emperor behind him. From his cocky tone, it was clear that he was the young castle master. Shenming, don't be rude. This is Tower Master Yi. I've invited him over to be a guest. Dong An yelled. Yi Mo had a strange feeling. The young castle master was Dong An's son. Why did he feel that Dong An had some concerns when speaking to the young castle master? Castle master, you don't need to care about this. No matter which tower master it is, since he dares to mess with me, Wei Shenming, then don't blame me. The young castle master said and then glanced at Yi Mo. Shadowless couldn't hold it anymore and laughed. This is really strange. We want to enter our own shop. If we don't break the restriction outside, are we going to use a teleportation formation to go in each time? I have no objections with you entering your shop, but you broke my restriction, so you must compensate. The restriction isn't inside your shop. Wei Shenming sneered and signaled to the Dao molding divine emperor next to him. So that's it, how much god crystals do we need to compensate you? Shadowless said. Wei Shenming didn't expect Shadowless to surrender this quickly. Although he knew Shadowless wouldn't surrender this easily, he still said, my formation is set up by the top formation Grand Master. It's worth 5 million top-grade god crystals. It's that expensive? Even the best formation can't be worth that much. There's also a 3-foot bear inside that was injured by Qiu Rang. Wouldn't the compensation be even higher? Shadowless said. Qiu Rang looked at Shadowless innocently, thinking, since when did I injure the 3-foot bear? It's my thing, so I name the price. You're right, it's 3 million god crystals for that 3-foot bear. In total it's 8 million god crystals. Then, the Dao molding divine emperor expanded his force over. Shadowless gritted his teeth. Okay, we'll pay up. Wei Shenming dazed, it was this simple? But then he heard Shadowless say, Qiu Rang, how many immortal spirit herbs did the 3-foot bear break in our shop? Qiu Rang immediately understood and quickly said he just ate a golden bell Buddha fruit. He didn't get time to eat other things and I caught it. Shadowless laughed. It seems that guy's quite lucky. That Buddha fruit is priceless, but I don't care. I'll take 18 million god crystals for it. Oi, Wei dude. Just give us 10 million god crystals. Don't say other shit, we name the price of our own things. You're asking to die. Wei Shenming was furious immediately. It was always he who did this to others. Since when did people dare to do this to him? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2107 Martial Cultivator. Chapter 2107 Martial Cultivator. Hold up, young castle master. Zun Hongyi knew Yi Mo was strong and immediately stopped Wei Shenming from attacking him. Dong'an sneered. Shenming, Tower Master Yi is a guest I invited, don't be rude. To him, if Yi Mo was a pill divine, then he was worth more than anything. Even Wei Shenming must not offend him. Castle Master, this person is clearly being unreasonable with his pet. I suspect he took over that shop by force. Otherwise, how can that shop only be sold for 450k god crystals? Wei Shenming didn't dare to be too rude to Dong, and Fu Fei suddenly got up and pointed at Wei Shenming. Wei Shenming, you took over my Fu God corner shop by force and now you're saying that Yi Qianbei took it by force? Do you have any face? You killed more than 10 people in the shop, I'm going to tear you apart. Yi Mo sneered. So that's it. I've seen the young castle master's power. I didn't buy the shop from young castle master, but you knew the exact price. Yi Mo then smiled to Dong and Castle Master Dong. I'm not sure who is right or wrong based on Fu Fei and young castle master's words. I have an idea. Let them fight together. They're both immortal emperor middle stage anyways. Whoever wins is right. What do you think? He dared to say this because Yi Mo saw that despite having a better cultivation method, Wei Xuanming's was actually weaker than Fu Fei. Wei Shenming barely went through life or death situation while Fu Fei was always living life on the edge. Everyone in here looked dazedly at Yi Mo. What reason was this? Whoever was stronger was right. Fu Fei got up and said, I'm willing to fight young castle master. If Fu Fei loses, then I am wrong. He had long wanted to kill Wei Shenming and knew this was an opportunity Yi Mo got for him. How could he let it go? Wei Shenming sneered and stood up. Then let's fight. I'm not going to be scared of a mere immortal emperor middle stage. Wei Shenming said as though forgetting he was an immortal emperor middle stage too. Then he looked at the Tao molding divine emperor next to him. Clearly, he knew that even if he lost, there would be someone to intervene. Shadowless saw this and laughed. What if someone's about to lose and his clone is going to intervene? If someone dares to interrupt the fight, then the people watching can kill whoever intervenes. Yi Mo said coldly. Wei Shenming shivered and said in contempt, you're a mere immortal emperor and you dare to say kill people. Yi Mo said calmly, it's fine if I can't kill, but with Castle Master Dong here, I believe he will uphold justice. Dong'an saw this and laughed. In that case you two can fight. We'll fight peacefully. Otherwise, my palace can't withstand 2 immortal emperors fighting. Yi Mo waved out tens of formation flags and drew out a big circle in this palace. Don't worry, Castle Master Dong. I know a little bit of formation. They can fight however they like in my formation. I promise your palace will be fine. There was a sliver of shock in Dong'an's eyes, but it soon receded. He was thinking, just who was Yi Mo? How could he set up a formation in such a short time that couldn't be broken by immortal emperors? Just what formation skills was this? If he really was a pill divine, it was too shocking. But he wasn't worried about Wei Shenming and Fu Fei's battle. He trusted that Wei Shenming definitely wouldn't be scared of Fu Fei. Wei Shenming was the disciple of a Tao Essence Divine Emperor in the Great Sun God Mountain. Fu Fei landed in the circle without saying anything. Wei Shenming never took Yi Mo's formation seriously. He went up without hesitation too and released his magic artifact. It was a black half bell. Half of the bell was gone. Compared to this, Fu Fei had a half-god artifact, a true martial spear. Fu Fei pierced out with his true martial spear and a virulent killing intent spread out through the entire palace. Yi Mo waved out a few formation flags and the killing intent that filled this palace immediately receded back into the formation. Seeing Yi Mo set up this formation so easily, Wei Xuanming's Tao molding divine emperor's face changed. He could feel that Yi Mo didn't seem to be an immortal emperor. He thought that even if Wei Shenming was outmatched, he would be able to save Wei Shenming, but now, he wasn't so sure. Thinking about this, he subconsciously walked forward, wanting to get closer to the battle. Yi Mo saw this and sneered but did nothing. He didn't believe a Tao-molding divine emperor could save someone from his hands. If Fu Fei was no match for Wei Shenming, then there was nothing he could do. Everyone in the palace looked at the battle. Fu Fei fought with his life immediately. He knew this opportunity didn't come easy. Wei Shenming saw Yi Mo seal the formation. He frowned, and then the bell completely smashed out. Black bell shadows struck out with a hum. These sounds came out of Yi Mo's formation, making Qiu Rang almost unable to bear it. Yi Mo waved his hand again, and a few more formation flags flew out. Those bell sounds were immediately much weaker. Fu Fei's spear carried out 10,000 spear shadows that clashed with the bell shadows, creating huge explosion whirlpools. It seemed powerful, but none of them could get past Yi Mo's formation. Yi Mo was a little shocked. He saw that Fu Fei didn't use god art or magic arts, he used a complete set of spear art. The countless spear shadows broke open Wei Xuanming's immortal emperor domain. Wei Shenming didn't take Fu Fei seriously, but as they fought, it was clearly becoming a life-or-death battle. Eventually, Yi Mo's battle circle was completely filled with bell and spear shadow. One could barely see Fu Fei and Wei Shenming. Yi Mo saw this and knew that Fu Fei wasn't just an immortal cultivator. He thought about the other type of cultivator Zhen Bingyu mentioned to them. They weren't really cultivators, they were martial artists. Yi Mo hadn't seen a pure martial artists. Zhen Bingyu said that cultivating martial arts to the extreme could allow you to break open the void. Fu Fei might be an immortal and martial dual cultivator. Just when Yi Mo was thinking if martial artists could cultivate to primordial essence divine emperor level, the victory had been decided. The bell and spear smashed head-on, creating a heaven-shocking sound. Even Yi Mo's formation couldn't completely block this sound. The half-bell swept Fu Fei's spear away. If it wasn't for Yi Mo's formation, the two magic artifacts might have flown out of the palace. Yi Mo guessed Fu Fei was a martial cultivator, and now that his spear was swept away, Yi Mo frowned. It wasn't good for a martial cultivator for his weapon to leave his hand, but he set the rules. Even if Fu Fei was killed, he couldn't intervene. Just when the spear was taken away, Wei Shenming showed a smirk. He was very annoyed with Fu Fei's fighting style. It wasn't magic arts nor god art. Now that Fu Fei's greatest reliance, his spear, was gone, Fu Fei was like dead to him. In a heavy thud, the bell smashed towards Fu Fei. Now, the Tao-molding divine emperor who followed Wei Shenming breathed easy. He could tell Fu Fei was a martial cultivator, so his body would definitely be strong. But no matter how strong it was, it couldn't be stronger than that slumbering bell spirit. The young castle master clearly activated the bell spirit. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2108 Void Marketplace. Chapter 2108 Void Marketplace. Yi Mo frowned, but when he saw Fu Fei's cold expression that was calm, he immediately knew that Fu Fei knew about Wei Xuanming's move. It seemed he did a lot of work just to kill Wei Shenming. Blood spewed out as the half-bell flew past Fu Fei's waist, almost cutting him in half. However, Wei Xuanming's face changed. That clearly could have cut Fu Fei in half, but it only sliced open his waist a little. Yi Mo nodded. Fu Fei was also a body refinement cultivator. He had a piece of armor on his waist that could save him. Fu Fei was heavily injured but not dead. Since Fu Fei knew of this move, it meant he had a counterattack now. Fu Fei immediately released a rune and punched out. This was a high-level immobilization rune. Yi Mo saw it immediately. It was for one-time use, but it could freeze an opponent in a second. In this second, too many things can happen. Wei Shenming clearly wasn't dumb. When he saw that his bell spirit couldn't kill Fu Fei, he immediately knew things weren't good. Before he could do anything, Fu Fei's immobilization rune was used as he punched out. Wei Xuanming's face changed. He could only watch as Fu Fei attack him. He was just frozen for an instant, but he couldn't do anything in this instant. If he didn't activate the bell spirit, he was certain that even with the rune, Fu Fei wouldn't be able to freeze him. Clearly, Fu Fei calculated that he would be weak after activating the bell spirit. The Tao molding divine emperor saw this and was very shocked. He dashed without hesitation. Yimo sneered. He had long wanted to kill this Tao molding divine emperor. Just when the Tao molding divine emperor grabbed the outer rim of the defense formation, Yimo suddenly got up and waved out a crevice spirit sense god art. The crevice god art was used by spirit sense. It was perfect for ambush. Just when the Tao molding divine emperor wanted to tear open the formation, he felt a 30 kilometers purple ray fall in his sea of consciousness. He was ambushed. His sea of consciousness immediately turned over with the huge pain as he spat blood. Before he could stop this god art, a sword rune hacked over. Falling mark. Yimo wanted to end it quickly to prevent Dong'an from intervening. Splurge. Blood spew and this Tao molding divine emperor was hacked to pieces. At the same time, Wei Xianming was hacked to pieces by Fu Fei. When Wei Xianming died, he saw his Tao molding divine emperor die earlier than him. Dong'an just got up now and didn't even have the time to attack. He thought Wei Xuanming's Tao molding divine emperor could instantly break Yimo's formation and save Wei Xianming. He just hesitated for a second and Yimo killed a Tao molding divine emperor in this second. Even he didn't have this power. Just who was this Tower Master Yimo? He was too scary. I found a storage ring on the ground, I'm really lucky. Shadowless acted like an idiot and quickly grabbed the Tao molding divine emperor's ring. Seeing Fu Fei take Wei Xuanming's storage ring and bell, Yimo then put away the defense formation. The palace was filled with silence. No one cared about what Shadowless did. Yimo was an outsider and yet he dared to kill the young castle master. That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor next to Zun Hongyi immediately got up and said, Yimo, you're an outsider and you dare to kill in our Shicheng castle? You even dare to bring someone to kill our young castle master. As he spoke, his violent killing intent spewed out, filling the entire palace. Are you blind or are you deaf? There was an agreement before the fight that no one is allowed to intervene in the battle. Those who do are to be killed. Kill the young castle master? Are you a pig? You knew that someone would die from the battle. Yimo sneered. He hoped Dong'an would attack, that way, he would slaughter the entire Shicheng castle. He could tell that Dong'an didn't seem to be on the same line as Wei Xianming. If Dong'an didn't attack, he couldn't really attack. Okay, in that case, I, Oyu Luri, will come test you. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor got up. Yimo sneered. Dong'an knew that Oyu Luri was definitely no match for Yimo. Before Yimo spoke, he yelled, retreat martial brother Luri. There was an agreement before the battle. Outsiders who enter even are to be killed. Tower Master Yi is a VIP of our Shicheng castle. Don't be rude. Yes. Oyu Luri didn't dare to argue against Dong'an. He collected his force and retreated, but his killing intent towards Yimo didn't recede at all. Yimo was confused why a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor had a reason to challenge him. From how he killed that Tao Molding Divine Emperor, that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor should know that he was definitely no match for him. When he saw the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor still have killing intent in his eyes, he immediately understood. This person was either close to Wei Xianming or acted that he was furious. Yimo gave a few pills to Fu Fei and ignored this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Tower Master Yi is indeed powerful. Dong'an had an eye-opener today. Tens of thousands of years ago, I happened to get a dragon race wine. We'll use the opportunity today for everyone to celebrate. Dong'an didn't seem to care about Wei Xianming being killed. Dragon race wine? Yimo was interested but he didn't ask. Moments later, a seductive female immortal sent a few cups of white jade wine to everyone. There was seductive aroma from the cups. One's mind was clear just by smelling it. One could imagine how good it would be to drink it. Qiu Rang was drooling. His only passion was drinking wine. How could he resist it now when he saw the sacred wine from the dragon race? He already tried a little. Amazing wine, Qiu Rang sighed. Dong'an raised a cup and smiled, come, welcome to Shicheng Castle Tower Master Yi. Then he drank the entire cup and closed his eyes. Clearly, he was very happy about this wine. Yimo drank the entire cup. As the aromatic wine dripped down his throat, he felt amazing. This is indeed amazing wine. Emo exclaimed. Dongan sighed, "Too pity I only have this kettle. Otherwise, I would definitely give some to Tower Master Yi." "I don't dare." Emo said. "Castle Master Dong call it dragon race sacred wine. Is it from the dragon race?" "This wine is indeed from the dragon race. I happened to get it from a deal in the Void Marketplace. However, such wine has great demand in the Void Marketplace and I could only get a kettle." Dongan said with pity. "Void Marketplace deal? What is that?" Emo asked. Dongan looked at Emo with confusion. "With Tower Master Yi's power, you should be able to deal at the Void Marketplace. The Divine Tao realm is broken, but you can still go to the Void Marketplace." Emo got up and saluted with his fists. "I've always been in solitary cultivation and I really don't know about the Void Marketplace. Please introduce me to it, Castle Master Dong." Seeing that Emo really didn't know, Dongan nodded. "Void Marketplace is a marketplace in the endless void. It's a city. Those who can go there have to be at least Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor Peak. Most people are Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. A city in the void?" Emo was truly shocked. Dongan nodded. "That's right, a city in the void, but ordinary people can't go at all. The things in there are all the best. The Divine Tao realm is broken and the human race's power is drastically depleted, but many powerful beings from the demon race, dragon race, monster race, abyssal race, and so forth all go. The things they bring are also top quality." Emo was very shocked. He had come in contact with such race, but he didn't know they had their own realm and powerful beings. Comparatively, after the Divine Tao realm was broken, the human race declined greatly. "Please tell me how to go to the Void Marketplace, Castle Master Dong." Emo asked genuinely. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." Chapter 2109 Asking about Void Marketplace. Chapter 2109 Asking about Void Marketplace. Although Emo killed a Tao Molding Divine Emperor of his sect and killed a Tao Essence Divine Emperor disciple, Dongan still wanted to connect to Emo, as Emo was possibly a Pill Divine. A Pill Divine was too significant. Even when the Divine Tao realm wasn't broken, Pill Divines was extremely rare. Now that the Divine Tao realm was broken, there were even less Pill Divine. He saw the pills from Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower. They were real God pills. There was not only recovery God pills but also Tao Molding Divine Emperor Cultivation God pills. If it wasn't to connect with Emo, then he was confident he could take Emo down in the Shicheng Castle. If you want to go to the Void Marketplace, you must leave the Divine Tao realm and enter the Divine Tao realm void. When the Divine Tao realm wasn't broken, there was a teleportation formation to the Divine Tao realm void, but now, one can only go there himself. Dongan said. "May I ask Castle Master Dong how I can find the Void Marketplace after entering the void?" Emo asked. The Void Marketplace was connected to the different realms. He could ask about the dragon race there and get many good things inside. The Divine Tao realm was broken. Even if there was enough God Spirit Kai, it wouldn't be able to produce the Tao fruit he needed for Tao nourishment. Plus, Emo intended to return to the Immortal Realm and seal up the passage between the two realms. If he went back to the Immortal Realm, it would mean he wouldn't be able to enter the Void Marketplace. He had to go to the Void Marketplace before he went back to the Immortal Realm. "I have a location disk of the Void Marketplace here. I bought it from the Void Marketplace. Since I'm so close with Tower Master Yi, you can have it," Dongan said. Emo took it and scanned his spirit sense in. He also saluted with his fists. "Thank you, Castle Master Dong." From Dongan's actions and expressions, Emo could tell he had more than one of such disc, but regardless, Emo was grateful. "You're too polite. I also have a map to the void entrance. You can have it to Tower Master Yi," Dongan said. Emo took the jade slip and the location disc and felt great. He raised the cup. "I've benefited quite a lot coming to your place, Castle Master Dong. Cheers. If you need anything of me, just say it." Dongan laughed and drank the entire cup before saying, "Tower Master Yi probably made the things at your shop, right?" "It was this indeed." Emo laughed. "That's right, most of the pills there and god art are made by me. Sorry for my disrespect, Tower Master Yi is actually a Dao molding pill divine. It was just a guess before now, but Dong'an got confirmation now. The rest of the people in the Shicheng castle were all very shocked. A pill divine didn't come so easily. The value of a Dao molding pill divine was on par with a Dao essence divine emperor. Yimo nodded. I can indeed only concoct Dao molding god pills. As for Dao nourishment god pills, I can't concoct them yet. Yimo got many god spirit herbs in the Muhua god mountain, and so he brought up his pill concoction skills to Dao molding pill divine level. It wasn't that his pill concoction skills couldn't improve, but it was too hard to get Dao nourishment god spirit herbs. Dong'an sighed. Tower Master Yi hasn't been to the Void Marketplace. If one you go, you will see that originally, the human race was the majority there, but now, human race have depleted rapidly. It's not because other races have more prodigies and pill divines, but because the divine Dao realm is broken and all sorts of god spirit herb and Dao fruits are lacking. Other races have much more abundance of god spirit herb and Dao fruits. So, their power is far beyond that of the human race. Yimo listened quietly. He didn't believe Dong'an would think for the human race. Indeed, Dong'an's tone changed. Tower Master Yi. Our great sun god mountain was one of the 3 big sects of the divine Dao realm. Now that Shu Yu divine Dao is diminished and the immortal goddess sacred sect sealed mountain, our great sun god mountain is the strongest sect of the divine Dao realm. Our greatest wish is to repair the divine Dao realm and allow divine Dao realm to return to instant second prime. However, our great sun god mountain don't have a real pill divine yet. If Tower Master Yi is willing to join the great sun god mountain, you will be able to rebuild the divine Dao realm with great sun god mountain. Yimo sneered. Join the great sun god mountain? When he was strong, he would annihilate great sun god mountain. How could he join the great sun god mountain? Plus, he had even killed Dao actualization divine emperor of the great sun god mountain. He didn't believe Dong'an's words too. Repair the divine Dao realm and allow it to recover. Who would believe this? If it was spirit controlling the divine Dao realm and turning it into the great sun god mountain, he would believe it. But he heard the great sun god mountain only has Dao essence divine emperor. It was daydreaming for a Dao essence divine emperor to spirit control the divine Dao realm. It's no rush joining the great sun god mountain. I plan to go to the Void Marketplace first. However, does Castle Master Dong need me to help with anything? Yimo didn't reject immediately. He knew that Dong'an connected to him for him to join the great sun god mountain. There was a sliver of disappointment in Dong'an's eyes, but then he laughed. In that case, then we'll talk about it after Tower Master Yi comes back from the Void Marketplace. I don't have any personal needs. When Tower Master Yi wants to go to the Void Marketplace, I will go with Brother Yi if I'm free. Oh, what does Castle Master Dong want at the Void Marketplace? Yimo asked casually. Dong'an said with pity, I need a Dao fruit. It doesn't matter what Dao fruit it is. It's too hard to get a Dao fruit in the divine Dao realm. Many years ago, I heard there were a few ages fruit from the Muhua God Mountain, but when I got there it was already too late. Yimo smiled and took out a jade box. Thank you for helping me, Castle Master Dong. There's not much I can give back. You can have this Dao fruit. What? Dong'an thought he heard wrong. Who casually gave out Dao fruits? Plus, the things he gave, even if multiplied by a few million times, wasn't worth a Dao fruit. This is a Dao fruit I got many years ago. I don't have much use for it. You can have it. He still had 51 great primordial god rune Dao fruits. Even if he gave one, he still had 50. The Void Marketplace was worthless to Dong'an but very important to Yimo. He would have greater chaknis of reaching Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor in the Void Marketplace. Even Little Blue needed to go there for evolution. Little Blue still hadn't melted that spear clearly because his level was too low. It's great primordial god rune Dao fruit. It really is Dao fruit. Dong'an said shakily. He didn't expect Yimo to be this generous. He just gave a location disc and told him about the Void Marketplace, but he got such return. He was even more certain of Yimo's character now. Thank you, Tower Master Yi. Dong is guilty to take this Dao fruit, but it's too important to Dong. If Tower Master Yi needs anything and Dong can do it, Dong will definitely help. Dong'an was truly grateful to Yi Mo. Yi Mo smiled. It's good that it can benefit Castle Master Dong. I'm going to the Void Marketplace, please give me a few pointers. Dong'an got up and said please have a chat inside. Yi Mo knew Dong'an was grateful and wanted to tell him some secrets about the Void Marketplace. He got up and said Shadowless, you guys stay here. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:10 Divine Dao Rank. Chapter 21:10 Divine Dao Rank. Half a day later, Yi Mo happily took Shadowless, Qiu Rang and Fei Fei and left the Xicheng Castle. He learned a lot about the Void Marketplace from Dong'an. The Void Marketplace wasn't simple a big city that connected the different races. It was also a place where the prodigies from the different races gathered. Those who went to Void Marketplace were either extremely powerful beings or some prodigy cultivator. They could all easily kill peers. In the Void Marketplace, power was everything. There was no sympathy nor tears here, only power. The most famous thing in the Void Marketplace was two ranks. One was the God Dao rank and one was the Divine Dao rank. They were also called God rank and Divine rank. God rank was something all divine emperors could chase for. This only referred to divine emperors before Dao Essence Divine Emperor. When you reached Dao Essence Divine Emperor, you could only chase for divine rank. As for Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, they were extremely rare even in the Void Marketplace. Only one or two came occasionally. They wouldn't go on any rank. Those who reached Primordial Essence Divine Emperor were usually cultivating and managing their own world. They wouldn't stay in the Void Marketplace. Each rank had 500 people. The human race had very few people on the rank due to the fall of the Divine Dao realm. The rest of the races had many prodigies. If it wasn't that there was no point in taking over the Divine Dao realm, it would have long become a subsidiary world of other races. Yi Mo didn't take the people on the rank seriously, but when he heard Dong'an say that someone from the God rank defeated a Dao Essence Divine Emperor, he was shocked. He was confident that he was invincible amongst peers, but he didn't expect he was powerful enough to cross a big step, defeating a Dao Vindication second step Dao Essence Divine Emperor as a Dao Vindication first step cultivator. From this, one could see that in the vast universe, there were countless powerful beings. The strongest not necessarily came from the human race. Due to this news, Yi Mo looked down on the great Sun God Mountain even more. Such a sect didn't think about how to repair the Divine Dao realm but instead thought about how to dominate the Divine Dao realm. They even wanted to turn the Divine Dao broken realm into their great Sun God realm. From Dong'an, he also knew that although there were Dao molding divine emperors in the Void Marketplace, they were either very insane or went with the Dao Essence Divine Emperor from their sect. As for why many divine emperors of the Divine Dao realm went the God Necropolis domain to vindicate Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, Yi Mo understood a bit about it too. If one didn't become Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, he would definitely not be able to repair the Divine Dao realm. Plus, even if you repaired the Divine Dao realm, you would just be doing work for others. A beautiful world without a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor is like a naked beautiful woman sleeping on the bed waiting to be raped. Yi Mo thought of the Immortal Realm tunnel and sighed. The Immortal Realm was like this. Even though the Immortal Realm was broken, each heaven domain was something ordinary divine emperors of the Divine Dao realm would want. One needed at least a low-grade flying god artifact to go to the Void Marketplace. Luckily Yi Mo had Spacetime Boat. Dong'an gave a cloud boat claw to Yi Mo to thank him for the Dao fruit. This was a material for making flying god artifact. Plus, Yi Mo got other top-level materials, so he decided to upgrade his Spacetime Boat to a middle-grade god artifact. Lunlan Divine Dao City was just like usual. Everyone thought that this pill forgery tower would just be a spark that disappeared quickly, however it stabilized in the city instead. Even that young castle master disappeared from the city. Yi Mo knew that Wei Xuanming's status wasn't low. Dong'an said he would help him get this sorted, but Yi Mo didn't have much hopes. If the great Sun God Mountain came to him, he would run if he couldn't beat them. But he didn't expect that Dong'an really didn't bluff. There was no news of Wei Shenming anymore, nor did anyone from Great Sun God Mountain come out to talk about this. As time went on, Yimo relaxed and focused on forging his flying god artifact. He left everything in the shop to Shadowless, Small Ginseng, Qiu Rang and Fu Fei. Small Ginseng was focused on pill concoction, the rest for them were focused on selling. Small Ginseng was good at pill concoction and Yimo gave the Mist Lotus Heart Fire to him and taught Small Ginseng pill concoction skills. Now, Small Ginseng could barely make some god pills. As for martial artists, Yimo asked Fu Fei. Fu Fei cultivated it due to an accident. Someone came to the Fu family shop to sell the true martial spear. Fu Fei liked this spear on first sight and used his advantage in the shop to buy it with all his savings. He got the martial arts cultivation method from the spear. Yimo didn't get the answer he wanted, but he didn't care. His body refinement was at immortal god body peak stage and couldn't reach into divine body. The Luo Yu pill forgery divine tower's fame grew bigger, but Yimo had finished solitary cultivation. Little Blue had burned for many years, but that short spear still hadn't melted. Yimo had decided for Little Blue to stop. He sealed the short spear and started to upgrade the spacetime boat. Because Luo Yu pill forgery divine tower had great things, almost all immortals liked to go there. The business of other pill and forgery towers worsened, but no one dared to seek trouble with Luo Yu. Luo Yu was famous, but they were powerful. Even the Shicheng Tower didn't dare to go speak there. Plus, Luo Yu only took a small portion of the entire market. 3 years suddenly passed again. Yimo fused all these materials into the spacetime boat and truly upgraded it to a middle-grade flying god artifact. Not only so, the inner cabin was much larger. Yimo added many defense formations outside too. Yimo breathed easy. He was ready to go to the Void Marketplace now. Yimo had decided to give the Luo Yu pill forgery tower to Fu Fei. With Dong'an to take care of him, Fu Fei would have no problem running the shop. As soon as Yimo put away the spacetime boat, there was a ripple. Yimo rejoiced. He knew that Mu Xiaoyun finished solitary cultivation. Mu Xiaoyun put away the time formation disc and came out as Immortal King Peak stage. She was ready to have her Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation. Husband. Mu Xiaoyun saw that Yimo was right next to him and rejoiced and quickly came over. You're ready to have Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation? Yimo grabbed her hand and felt her god essence. The time formation disc is really a good thing. I feel cultivation is so fast inside. Mu Xiaoyun sighed. Yimo laughed. I'll protect you. Have your Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation. Yimo said. There were all sorts of divine damnation places in the Golden Page world, and even the Spirit Gathering formation was set up. Yimo wasn't going to intervene with Mu Xiaoyun's divine damnation. In the Golden Page world, Yimo could completely control the power of her divine damnation, but Yimo didn't want to do this unless it was a life or death situation. Mu Xiaoyun's talent was absurd and she had this many magic artifact and pills. Even if the divine damnation was stronger, Yimo believed she could do it. At this moment, 2 slightly messy-haired women ran into the city. The woman ahead was slightly older but looked like an extremely beautiful middle-aged woman. The woman next to her had her face hidden, but her extremely beautiful temperament couldn't be hidden. Master, we've pretty much ended our exit by coming here. The woman said. The middle-aged woman sighed. Even if we don't come in here, there's no other way. I have a subtle feeling that this is our only chance of survival here. The masked woman said nothing, but then she said in surprise, Master, look, this is Luo Yu pill forgery divine tower. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:11 Robbed. Chapter 21:11 Robbed what? The middle-aged woman didn't react in time. The masked woman quickly said, Master, the cultivation realm I went down to was Luo Yu continent. It was that martial brother who brought me back to the immortal realm and sent me back to the Ice God Palace. Otherwise, I would never be able to see Master again. The middle-aged woman realized and sighed. Qing, are you? That incident was unfortunate for you. But I haven't seen the person who saved you. After we repair the tunnel from the immortal realm to here, I'll go thank him. Qing nodded. Master, that martial brother is definitely no ordinary person. I'm afraid his power is no weaker than Master now. I really don't get why Shuang would harm such a person of high morals. Shuang is the reincarnation of the immortal goddess saint. Her means are clearly a bit over the line, but she's doing it for the immortal goddess. Sigh, the middle-aged woman clearly didn't like what Shuang did too. If it wasn't for that, how could she leave the Ice God Palace? She wouldn't have left the Ice God Palace even if she had to vindicate Dao. Now that she vindicated Dao but didn't go back to the Ice God Palace. Instead, she brought her disciple to the God Necropolis domain because she didn't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Qing knew what her master thought and said with guilt that martial brother is someone who values people the most. He saved Shuang many times, but Shuang instead harmed him. Even so, he just left the Ice God Palace sadly and didn't want revenge. I know it's because he's not scared of the Ice God Palace nor due to Shuang's beauty, but because Shuang saved him once. That's all. Did you not want to stay in the Ice God Palace due to this? The woman looked at Qing and asked. Qing fell silent for a moment and said, when Master handed over the position of Big Palace Lord and left, I didn't want to stay. When I heard what Shuang said to me, I didn't want to stay even more. If it wasn't that Master wanted to come to the God Necropolis domain to repair the formation, I would keep cultivating as I searched for that martial brother. I want to thank him for saving my life. You like him? The middle-aged woman asked. Qing looked down. No, I just feel that the Ice God Palace owes him. As they spoke, they entered the shop. There are so many people here, the business is so good. Qing sighed. Today happens to be the day of small ginseng god pill sale. Of course, there's a lot of people coming. An immortal emperor said on the said. There's small ginseng god pills for sale? The middle-aged woman asked in shock. She had been here with Qing for a while and knew the value of small ginseng god pills. That was something only true pill divines could concoct. The immortal emperor saw Qing magnificent body and said, of course, Luo Yu pill and forgery divine towers pills and magic artifact are the best. They would sell a few types of small ginseng god pills on the first day of each month. Today is that day. Because Yimo couldn't constantly make pills. If he really sold all the pills he made, he wouldn't have time for cultivation. So, Shadowless and Fu Fei decided that to attract customers, they would sell some of Yimo's pills at the first day of each month. The middle-aged woman looked at the god pills and her eyes dimmed. There were many pills she needed, but she couldn't afford any of them. Martial brother, may I ask if the master of this tower is here? Qing asked. Who are you? If you want to buy magic artifact and pills, come to me. I've the vice tower master here. Why do you need to see boss? Shadowless gloated. Many people in the shop came up to suck up to Shadowless, clearly knowing what he liked. Big brother Shadowless, hello. I want to buy 3 Luo E pill. Big boss Shadowless, I want to buy an extreme grade immortal artifact. I'm still missing a few god crystals. Shadowless Tower Master, I want to buy 2 Tai Wei Emperor return pills. Shadowless waved his hand in a satisfied manner till give you 10% off. And you, give the missing god crystals next time. Tai Wei Emperor return pill? I'll give you 10% off too. Qing and the middle-aged woman were dazed. This Shadowless was too easily sucked up. People just called him Big Brother and he gave 10% off. They were even more shocked that Tai Wei Emperor return pill could be bought like candy here. If they bought a bunch of this and returned to the immortal realm, then the two people thought of the countless ice peaks of the Ice God Palace. If there were this many Tai Wei Emperor return pill, would the Ice God Palace need to commit such atrocity? Would they need to leave the Ice God Palace? Shadowless set up his posture before walking up to the two and said, 2 goddesses, what do you need? Just come to me. Boss is in solitary cultivation and doesn't have time to see you. Wait. Shadowless suddenly dashed to the door of the shop and stopped. 2 men, put away your magic artifact. Those who come to the Pill Forgery Divine Tower are not allowed to have magic artifacts. Pill Forgery Divine Tower, such cocky words. What thing are you? You're just an animal guarding the gates and you dare to let the divine put away his magic artifact. Fart. A green-robed man sneered and kicked Shadowless away. Shadowless was strong, but against a Tao-molding divine emperor, there was nothing he could do. He was kicked away and smashed onto a rack. Everything on there fell. Everyone rob it, it's some benefits that the divine gave you. The green-robed Tao-molding divine emperor laughed. But unexpectedly, despite a lot of people coming here to buy, no one used this opportunity to rob the pills on the ground. Most people didn't leave and sneered as though ready to watch a good show. This is a god pill for Tao-molding divine emperor, haha, and it's extremely high grade. The divine emperor soon grabbed a few bottles into his storage ring. The middle-aged woman's face changed and quickly said, "You're capturing us. It has nothing to do with this shop. Put the things here and we'll go with you." Ha ha ha, thanks for helping. Otherwise how could we know there's such a good shop in the city? There's even god pills. The Tao-molding divine emperor laughed. Boy, did you say god pills? Another figure appeared at the door. The middle-aged woman's face sunk. She couldn't even beat that Tao-molding divine emperor, and this person who just came was clearly Tao nourishment divine emperor or above. Shadowless crawled up. "Boss, there's someone robbing our shop." Shadowless immediately sent Yimo a message. He knew that only Boss could handle this. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:12 What Thing is Du Ting God Sec? Chapter 21:12 What Thing is Du Ting God? Secretary Yi Mo was just happily talking to Mu Xiaoyun. She had easily passed her Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation and was now an Immortal Monarch Primary Stage. At this moment, he received Shadowless' message. When his spirit sense fell in the shop, he immediately sneered. What happened? Mu Xiaoyun immediately felt Yi Mo's anger. "Someone wants to rob my shop, come out too." Yi Mo took Mu Xiaoyun out of the shop. "Ji Chuan, go greet the city lord and tell them that the Du Ting God sect has some conflict with this shop. After we're done here, I'll come up personally to greet him." The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor saw that all the god pills in this shop was real. The city didn't dare to offend Fu God Corner, but it didn't mean their sect didn't. Only then did the people in the shop realize that this divine emperor thought this shop still belonged to the Fu God Corner. These two probably hadn't been in the city for a long time. "Wait," the immortal emperor behind the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said. "What?" The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor's face sunk. The immortal emperor quickly said, "Elder Mang, the Fu family's shop was long taken away. This shop no longer belongs to the Fu family. The only immortal emperor here is called Fu Fei. I've been to the city before and this person was here. Even if the shop is given to someone else, it's related to the Fu family. The mere Fu family, what's wrong with a mere Fu family?" Yi Mo and Mu Xiaoyun walked down. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was a little shocked he didn't see there was someone at the second floor, but when he saw Yi Mo was just an immortal emperor and Mu Xiaoyun was just an immortal monarch, he sneered. "My Du Ting God sect can annihilate with one hand. Elder, it's said this shop is related to the Great Sun God Mountain. The 11 Cheng Castle here belongs to Great Sun God Mountain." The immortal emperor behind him sound transmissioned to the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Great Sun God Mountain was an ancient sect and only rose up in recent years. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor clearly knew about the Great Sun God Mountain and frowned. The Du Ting God sect wasn't afraid of the Great Sun God Mountain but clearly didn't want to have big problems with the Great Sun God Mountain. "Boss, you're finally here. We were abused to death by these people. This bastard even kicked me." Shadowless saw Yi Mo come and cried. Qing Ayu's eyes lit up. She didn't expect to be able to see Yi Mo in the God Necropolis domain. She quickly walked up to Yi Mo and thanked Marshal Brother. "We meet again. I really didn't expect you opened this shop." Yi Mo saw Qing Ayu too. He didn't expect her to appear in the divine Tao realm too and said happily, "Goddess Qing Ayu, I didn't expect you to have come here." "Qing Ayu, the middle-aged woman asked in confusion. "Master, this is the Marshal Brother I told you about who saved me." Qing Ayu quickly said, "This is the big palace lord, my master. After I left the sect, I've been with my master. So it's the big palace lord. I'm Yi Mo. Congratulations on vindicating Dao. Yi Mo didn't like the ice god palace, but he heard Qing Yu say this big palace lord was a nice person. The big palace lord quickly said, "TM no longer the big palace lord, just call me Li Xiu." The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor grabbed at the big palace lord and sneered, "Take these two away immediately and I'll explain the rest at the Shicheng castle." Li Xiu quickly released a magic artifact. "No need to fight here, I'll go with you. It has nothing to do with here." She had regretted coming to Yi Mo's shop. Not only did she not find help, but she also brought trouble to Yi Mo. Yi Mo was only an immortal emperor. There was nothing he could do against two divine emperors. "You robbed my shop and you want to leave?" Yi Mo walked forward and punched. He didn't need to use any hand signs or chants. With this punch, the entire shop suddenly became cold. A coldness that could freeze space ravaged. Those weaker immortal monarchs even had to use their cultivation method to resist this. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor's face changed. As soon as Yi Mo reached his hand, he knew Yi Mo was no immortal emperor. Even a Dao molding divine emperor wouldn't be able to use such god art. The nearby space seemed to have been completely frozen. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately knew that he was far weaker than this Yi Mo. His blood boiled, and the instant the icy space bound him, his boiling blood smashed open this space. There was a crisp crack. Everyone looked at the empty space as it suddenly seemed to have cracked open. Blood splashed, and this Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor dashed out of the shop like a blood arrow. The audience was silent. Everyone knew that the Tower Master was strong, but no one expected him to be able to force away a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor like this with one move. Yi Mo sneered and just threw out a few formation flags and punched. "Immortal friend, wait, this is a misunderstanding. I'm from the Du-Ting God sect." Du-Ting God sect was an extremely famous big sect in the divine Dao realm, but no matter what, it was only so-so. He would even fight the great Sun God Mountain and Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, much less Du-Ting God sect. Fist God Art Shatter Space. Yi Mo's Shatter Space didn't have the force that swept all of the space lethal force. Now, it contained this entire space into that one punch. Only this Dao molding divine emperor knew what situation he was in. Such fierce condensed lethal force was wrapped in a fist and punched over. This Dao molding divine emperor didn't even have time to beg for mercy. He had to stop this fist first. He wanted to release his shield, but at the same time, a purple ray appeared in his sea of consciousness that sliced his sea of consciousness in half. The shield fell from his hands, and Yi Mo's shatter space punch completely tore him apart. In an explosion, the Dao molding divine emperor was completely obliterated. Thud. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor didn't charge very far and was stopped by an invisible restriction. He immediately realized that this shop was completely surrounded by restrictions. No one could leave without Yi Mo's permission. Realizing this, the Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor turned around to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists. "I'm the elder of Du-Ting God sect Mang Chogu. I was in solitary cultivation before and just came out. I didn't know this shop belonged to you. Please forgive me for any offense. The Du-Ting God sect will pay for all damages caused." The two Du-Ting God sect immortal emperors stood on the side with a pale face. "What thing is Du-Ting God sect? I've never heard of it. No matter who it is that dares to rob my shop, you have to be prepared to die," Yi Mo said. Mang Chogu's face was bad. He knew he was no match for Yi Mo and thus tried to use his sect's name to scare Yi Mo. However, Yi Mo didn't even care about the Du-Ting God sect. Before he could continue to talk, Yi Mo hacked out with Zishu. He was scared to damage his shop before, but now they were outside. Space sunk into oblivion. Even the flow of air became slow. Twisted sword runes arced down from the sky. A vibrant purple color completely covered Mang Chogu. Sword Dao God Art, Falling Mark Sword Rune. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21 13 Formation Loosening. Chapter 21 13 Formation Loosening. In this twisted space, Mang Chogu didn't know where this twisted sword rune was going to land. He couldn't dodge at all, he could only release his Sen Luo ring. Ring shadows smashed out wanting to block the fall of the sword rune. Crack crack. Countless ring shadows were activated that smashed with the sword rune. Blood flashed. Mang Chogu breathed easy. Although he was injured by the sword rune, it was nothing serious. This twisted sword rune was too scary. Immortal friend, wait, Mang Chogu immediately called for stop. He knew the difference between them was too great and that he would die if he continued fighting. Before he finished, 5 lightning spears sealed off all his exits. Mang Chogu's face showed a snarl. He didn't expect Yi Mo was this cruel and didn't leave him any chance to live. A violent god essence Kai exploded from him. It was as though entire space would be destroyed in the next moment. Yi Mo's face changed. This guy was going to self-destruct even before being seriously injured. If it was outside, he would instant transmission away, but here, if he didn't suppress it, everything here including his shop would turn to dust. Instant second. Yi Mo used instant second god art and space-time completely paused. It was just 1 second, but to Yi Mo, it was enough. Zishu sliced as Mang Chogu watched Zishu take his life force away and destroy his essence spirit. Time pause law. This was the last thought Mang Chogu had. Thud. Even though Yi Mo stopped Mang Chogu's self-destruction, his god essence still exploded when Zishu sliced across his body. However, the explosion was countless times smaller than before. The immortal emperor behind him was also caught by the ripple and turned to bloody mist. This entire battle happened in just a few seconds. Yi Mo put away Zishu and saluted with his fists. Everyone, trouble happened at our shop, so we'll be closed for now. Everyone reacted and saluted with his fists before leaving. Yi Mo sealed up Ji Chuan, who didn't dare to leave nor beg for mercy, before saying to Li Xiu and Qing Ayu, Big Palace Lord and Goddess Qing Ayu, come up for a chat. Tower Master Yi, I didn't expect your power to be at this level. I thought you were just immortal emperor power. Li Xiu sighed. Yi Mo easily killed a Dao nourishment divine emperor. This meant that Yi Mo was no weaker than a Dao actualization divine emperor, or was even a strong Dao actualization divine emperor. Qing Ayu was also shocked. She was scared by Yi Mo's cultivation level too. She knew Yi Mo would be boundless in the future, but this future came too quickly. How long has it been? Martial brother Yi, Qing Ayu knew you weren't an ordinary immortal. Now, it seems I still underestimated you too much. Qing Ayu took off her mask as she spoke to show respect for Yi Mo. She sighed about how short-sighted Nai Shuangshuang was. Nai Shuangshuang killed Yi Mo just to show her persistence to Dao. But how would Nai Shuangshuang feel once she vindicated Dao and realized she was nothing compared to Yi Mo? Mu Xiaoyun was very shocked when she saw Qing Ayu's beauty. She was extremely beautiful herself and had always stayed at Immortal Goddess Peak and cultivated the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect beauty cultivation method. Despite this, she found she was lesser than Qing Ayu. In her impression, only Ji she seemed to be on par with Qing Ayu. Even Ji she lacked this inexpressible thing. Mu Xiaoyun was different to other women. All her heart was on Yi Mo, but as a woman, there was no way she didn't care about her looks. Yi Mo smiled and grabbed Mu Xiaoyun's hand before saying to the two, "This is my wife Mu Xiaoyun." Then he introduced to Mu Xiaoyun, "This is Goddess Qing Ayu and her master Li Xiu. Li Xiu is the big palace lord of the Ice God Palace. When I was trapped in the Ice God Palace, Qing Ayu helped me out. Sister Xiaoyun, you're stronger than me and your brother Yi's wife, I should call you big sister." "Brother Yi actually saved me," Qing Ayu quickly said. Yi Mo laughed, "Just be casual. Xiaoyun is younger, so she should call Qing Ayu big sister." Hearing this, Qing Ayu didn't object anymore. The four sat down at the second floor. Mu Xiaoyun took out the best immortal spirit tea to treat them. "Dao friend Li Xiu, how did you guys come to the divine Dao realm? How were you chased by the Du Ting God sect?" Yi Mo asked. "Divine Dao realm? Isn't it called the God Necropolis domain?" Qing Ayu asked in confusion. Yi Mo laughed. "I used to think this was the God Necropolis domain, but later, I realized it was the divine Dao broken realm. God Necropolis domain is just a simple way of calling it, as there really is a place in the divine Dao broken realm called God Necropolis domain." One can vindicate Tao at the God Necropolis domain. So many people called the divine Tao broken realm the God Necropolis domain. Li Xiu didn't care about this and sighed, immortal friend Yi. Now I realized that the low heaven domain sect leader who suggested to seal the formation from immortal realm to the divine Tao realm was you. Yi Mo nodded. That's right, it's indeed me. Li Xiu got up and bowed to Yi Mo. Immortal friend, Yi has made insurmountable contributions to the immortal realm, please accept my bow. Yi Mo quickly held her and said, regardless of which way, Big Palace Lord exceeds Yi Mo far greater. Big Palace Lord came from the seal. Is there a problem with the seal? I came for this. Li Xiu said seriously, when I vindicated Tao, I was planning to take Qing Yu to the 33 heaven domains for trial, but then I heard about the tunnel from immortal realm to the divine Tao realm. Many immortal emperors used the tunnel to come to the divine Tao realm for Tao vindication. When I came to the tunnel, I found the formation seal was loosening. The immortal realm Kai was spilling, and even at the divine Tao realm, I can sense the immortal realm Kai. Yi Mo nodded. He knew that seal was only temporary. I'm worried. No one can seal this formation again in the immortal realm. I'm an immortal formation Grand Master and I vindicated Tao, so I have to intervene in this situation. Yi Mo immediately asked, did Big Palace Lord come to the divine Tao realm to learn formation to seal that tunnel again? Li Xiu nodded. I thought so indeed, so I brought Qing Yu to the divine Tao realm, but when I came here I found I was too naive. In the immortal realm, I was a formation Grand Master, but in the divine Tao realm, I'm nothing. I can't completely seal the formation. Yi Mo knew what she meant. She wouldn't be able to learn divine Tao realm formation means in a short while. She couldn't even afford the God crystals and the God spirit range needed to seal the formation. I took Qing Yu around for a few years and found this place was covered in ravines and broken laws. It was extremely hard to learn formation. But at this moment, we saw the clone of Du Ting God sect leader. He was Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage, and his clone was very terrifying. When he saw Qing Yu, he wanted Qing Yu to be his cultivation slave and help him reach Tao essence divine emperor. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:14 Li Xiu's Rex. Chapter 21:14 Li Xiu's Rex. Thank you, Big Palace Lord. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists to the Big Palace Lord. He respected someone as selfless as Li Xiu. Li Xiu asked, immortal friend Yi, did you think the same as me? Yi Mo nodded yes, but now we not only have to seal the Kai but truly seal that tunnel too. Yi Mo had been in the divine Tao realm longer than these two. He knew that many powerful beings of the divine Tao realm already knew of immortal realm's tunnel, but they didn't want to enter the immortal realm from the tunnel. However, not all people thought like this. Li Xiu sighed pity. One not only needed the best formation skills but also large amounts of God crystals and formation materials to seal the tunnel. Yi Mo laughed. Big Palace Lord, don't worry. I've made plenty of preparations for sealing the tunnel. I have all the materials ready. As for the formation means, I can't completely seal the tunnel yet, but I can seal it for a few thousand years. Plus, such formation probably needs God spirit range. Li Xiu got up and grabbed Yi Mo's hand in excitement. Immortal friend Yi, you can really do it. Master, Qing Yu called, seeing her master being too excited, and grabbed Yi Mo's hand. Li Xiu reacted and didn't mind. Although my cultivation level is far weaker than immortal friend Yi, I'm much older than immortal friend Yi. Yi Mo said, no matter in which regard, Big Palace Lord is my Qian Bei. As for formation materials and God spirit range, don't worry. I've prepared it already and I can do it. Great, this is great. Li Xiu was very excited. She was in despair when she knew that she couldn't seal the tunnel. Now that Yi Mo said he could do it, one could imagine how excited she was. Finally, there was someone in the immortal realm who could control the situation and didn't need to rely on a woman. Yi Mo let her sit down and continued, I was planning to leave the city. If you didn't come, I was going to leave in a few days. Qing Yu said in fear, good thing we came to the city 2 days early. Master felt there was a chance of survival here. Does immortal friend you want to go to the sealing grounds? Li Xiu asked. Yimo thought and said, I'm indeed going there to seal the formation again. But this is just one thing. After I'm done with that, I'm going to the Void Marketplace. I was troubled with how I was going to set the formation seal to how I planned it, but now that Big Palace Lord is here, you can help me a little. Brother Yi, what formation do you want to set it as? Qing Yu asked in confusion. Yimo answered, I want to completely seal the tunnel to the immortal realm but not completely seal the tunnel to the divine Tao realm. At least, it should let immortals who reach Immortal Emperor to be able to enter the divine Tao realm but can't come back to the immortal realm. The immortal realm is just like the cultivation realm. Once the cultivator of the cultivation realm reaches a level, they can immortal ascend, but they can't go back to the cultivation realm so easily from the immortal realm. This can be done? Qing Yu asked in shock. Li Xiu looked at Yimo in disbelief. To be able to do this, it meant that Yimo's formation skills were at a new level. This wasn't a simple formation, it was a realm formation. Yimo smiled. If I were to set it up alone, I can't do it, but there's a formation base there. I'm just adding to the base. This would be hundreds of times easier. Even so, it's still amazing. How do you need me to help, immortal friend Yi? Li Xiu sighed. Yimo hesitated and said, I was weak before so I couldn't see the essence of that formation. Now that my cultivation level and formation skills are much higher, I can barely understand the secret of that formation. When I set it up, I might need Big Palace Lord to go back to the immortal realm entrance and assist me. I would have to go there and see first. Li Xiu said, sure. Yimo gave a jade slip to Li Xiu. Big Palace Lord, these are some of my formation experiences, you can have a look. Thank you, immortal friend Yi. Li Xiu didn't check the jade slip immediately but put it away instead. Then she looked at Yimo and asked, where is the Void Marketplace you talked about? Yimo didn't hide anything and told her everything he knew. Hearing this, Li Xiu sighed. If you don't leave the immortal realm, how can you know that Tao Vindication is just the beginning? The Void Marketplace has all the talents gathered. I believe even Tao Essence Divine Emperor are just ordinary there. Yimo agreed. Ever since he got the Golden Page World, he had always been invincible amongst his peers. Before Tao Vindication, he thought that his talent was far weaker than those pure spirit roots. But after Tao Vindication, he realized that talents wasn't the greatest barrier to cultivation. If you got the most suitable cultivation method for yourself, then even if you're a mixed spirit root, your cultivation speed might not be slower than those pure spirit roots. Immortal friend Yi, I have a favor to ask. Li Xiu got up and said. Big Palace Lord, please speak. Yimo said. Li Xiu pulled Qing Yu's hand and said, if it's convenient for you, can you bring Qing Yu when you go to the Void Marketplace? When I go back to the immortal realm and help immortal friend Yi set up the formation, I've decided to guard the immortal realm entrance and not enter the divine Tao realm again. In that case, the one I'm worried about the most is Qing Yu. Qing Yu can't guard the entrance with me and her power is weak, she can't roam the immortal realm alone. Yimo was troubled and said, I can take her to the Void Marketplace, but there are strong people everywhere in the Void Marketplace. Even I might die. Li Xiu said calmly, if cultivators always worried about dying, then their mind state isn't right. There's no point to cultivation. Qing Yu will understand this. If immortal friend Yi is willing to take her there, then even if she dies, you're not to blame. Yimo looked at the red-eyed Qing Yu who didn't speak. He was still a bit troubled. It was because Qing Yu's power was too weak. She was only great extreme immortal, but he couldn't really reject such thing. Li Xiu was this selfless, he couldn't reject her. Thinking about Nai Shuang, Yimo wondered why people from the same sect were so different. Qing Yu got up and said, if Brother Yi is willing to take Qing Yu to the Void Marketplace, Qing Yu is will to go venture there with Brother Yi. Master, take care. 3 days later, the Luo Yu pill forgery shop closed and Yimo and them left the city in MD God Artifact Spacetime boat. With Li Xiu leading the way and Yimo's middle-grade Flying God Artifact, the two estimated that it would only take them less than a year to reach the entrance of the immortal realm. As soon as Yimo left the city, a trailing light chased over. Yimo knew that if he activated the spacetime boat with full power, That light wouldn't be able to catch up to him, but his spirit sense saw that the light belonged to the Du Ting God sect, so he stopped the spacetime boat. The Du Ting God sect people are chasing over? Li Xiu asked. Yimo nodded. That's right. His the Du Ting God sect Dao actualization Divine Emperor peak stage. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:15 Terrifying Golden Bone Arrow. Chapter 21:15 Terrifying Golden Bone Arrow. Moments later, that light landed before Yimo's spacetime boat. It was a flying cart. It was near MD God artifact. There was a long-bearded man standing on top, Dao actualization Divine Emperor peak stage power. Yimo knew this was the Du Ting God sect leader. You killed 2 of my Du Ting God sect Divine Emperors. The man said coldly. Yimo laughed. You're wrong, other than those 2, I killed 2 more immortal emperors. I was planning to let this Ji Chuan immortal emperor leave and wanted him to take me to the Du Ting God sect, but I didn't want to waste time, so I killed him. Yimo indeed wanted to go annihilate Du Ting God sect and use their resources to set up the formation. After he discussed with Li Xiu, he felt that he had enough resources, so he gave up on the idea. After all, he wasn't alone now. He still took a big crowd of people with him. Even Fu Fei didn't stay in the city. The Dao actualization Divine Emperor sneered and released an eye-piercing magic artifact. Yimo saw this was a flag, an extreme young flag. I will see how insane you are. How dare you kill my Du Ting God sect Divine Emperor? If you can survive under my Jeji extreme young flag for 5 minutes, I'll let you live and be my slave. The flag pressed down at Yimo like countless suns. Yimo pushed spacetime boat away with one leg and smashed out 36 lightning sea god orbs. Even Yimo didn't dare to stop this flag with his body. If he was divine body he might try, but he wasn't there yet. They were both Dao actualization Divine Emperors, but this person was much stronger than the Great Sun God Mountain Dao actualization Divine Emperor he killed. The 36 lightning sea god orbs swept up lightning with Yimo ebaying the center and formed a lightning barrier. The lightning barrier also shot out countless lightning arcs and strikes. The thick lightning arcs smashed with the flag, exploding out huge space ripples. Yimo seemed to be the center of lightning, while this Dao actualization Divine Emperor seemed to be an extreme young whirlpool. Rumble, rumble. The explosion turned the surrounding into oblivion. 36 lightning sea god orbs. The Dao actualization Divine Emperor retreated a few kilometers and stared at the 36 lightning sea god orbs in shock. Yimo praised this Dao actualization Divine Emperor. He was much stronger than both the Great Sun God Mountain Dao actualization Divine Emperor and Ji Sini of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. He used the 36 lightning sea god orbs and only barely had the upper hand. If it was Ji Sini, he would be able to smash out Zishu again. Just in that clash, Yimo realized why he wanted Qing Yu to be his cultivation slave. His cultivation method and magic artifact were extreme yang. However, it wasn't pure. He needed an extreme yin virgin to be a cultivation sex slave, otherwise, he would burn himself to death. Yimo's 3-birth chant created many cultivation method and he immediately realized this. At the same time, Shadowless forced the spacetime boat to retreat. Li Xiu stared at this in shock. She didn't feel much when Yimo fought with that Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. She knew Yimo was stronger than her but didn't have any direct impression. Now that Yimo battled this Dao actualization Divine Emperor, the powerful lightning arcs and the extreme yang light made her unable to even get close. This Dao actualization Divine Emperor peak stage was more than tens of times stronger than his clone. At this moment, Li Xiu felt even more that it was beneficial to Qing Yu to send her out for adventure. Master, I understand. Qing Yu thought that her master told her to go with Yimo to increase her knowledge and get benefits from Yimo. Now, she realized what her master meant. If you didn't go with someone strong and experience countless battles, you would forever live at the bottom of a well. Just looking at how strong Yimo was, she knew that he had gone through countless battles. Only if you kept fighting strong people could you stand at the peak. No bad, Have a look at my falling mark sword rune. Yimo released Zishu. Falling mark sword rune was very powerful, but its weakness was that Zishu's level was too low. If Zishu was a higher level, his falling mark sword rune would be even stronger. The Tao actualization Divine Emperor's face changed. The Extreme Yang flag shot out tens of thousands of Extreme Yang rays. At the same time, a black bow appeared on his hand and a golden arrow appeared too. Golden arrow of divine extermination. Yimo's eyes narrowed and all his muscles tensed up. He knew that black bow wasn't the golden bow of divine extermination, but it was no ordinary bow. Even the most ordinary bow shooting the golden arrow of divine extermination was extremely powerful. Space fishes appeared as the arrow shot out. This invisible space binding came towards Yimo. It seemed about to bind Yimo completely. Yimo's heart squeezed. It had always been him who locked others with this arrow. Now, he was on the receiving end. The arrow arrived instantly. At this moment, Yimo didn't have the time to release the golden bow of divine extermination to stop this arrow. Screech. The 36 lightning sea god orbs was powerful, but Yimo didn't completely control it. The arrow tore open the 36 lightning sea god orbs barrier and came before him. Instant second, Yimo stared at the arrow. He was certain this Tao actualization Divine Emperor had controlled more than 100 levels of restriction of the golden arrow of divine extermination, maybe even 102. If this Tao actualization Divine Emperor used the golden bow of divine extermination to shoot this arrow, Yimo doubted if he could even dodge it in a rush. Invisible ripples spread in the space. In one blink, spring, summer, autumn and winter. In one blink, instant and eternity. This was instant second god art. The golden arrow paused in space as though it was frozen. It was only one instant, but all Yimo needed was this one instant. It was enough for him to release his punch, shatter sky. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:16 I have bone arrow 2. Chapter 21:16 I have bone arrow 2 shatter space brought the fist force space and smashed with the golden bone arrow exploding out golden light. The fist force instantly dissipated and the gone arrow lost its terrifying lethal force. Even so, it still tore open Yimo's fist and brought out bloody mist. Yimo immediately grabbed this golden bone arrow and sent it into his golden page world. Only now did Yimo realize how terrifying Truth Divine Emperor was. That guy had no magic artifact and dodged 4 of his arrows. If Truth Divine Emperor was in the Void Marketplace, he would definitely be on the god rank. The Tao actualization Divine Emperor saw Yimo use Time Law God Art to take his golden bone arrow and his face changed. People have dodged his golden bone arrow before but never have someone dodged it and taken it. He couldn't even find with his spirit sense where the arrow was. When he shot this arrow, he knew that he wouldn't be able to kill Yimo with it. He wanted to use this arrow to regain control of the battle, but instead there was such a huge turn of events. The price Yimo paid was just a broken fist. A broken fist wasn't even an injury to a Divine Emperor. The Tao actualization Divine Emperor immediately realized that he was no match for Yimo, but now, Yimo's falling mark sword rune had landed. A purple sword rune twisted this space and together with Yimo's Divine Emperor domain, it bound everything in this space. The Tao actualization Divine Emperor who was planning to fight with Yimo longer saw this sword rune and completely gave up that thought. His flag swept up the extreme yang rays and he was ready to leave. He wasn't worried. He believed that if he wanted to go, Yimo couldn't stop him. Before Yimo could keep attacking with Zishu, the Tao actualization Divine Emperor said, "Wait, I admit I'm no match for you. If you give me back that bone arrow our conflicts are over and I will compensate you some god crystals." "Give it back, sure, I'll give it back to you multiple times." Then, Yimo released the golden bow of divine extermination and placed an arrow on the bow. Golden bow of divine extermination. The Tao actualization Divine Emperor could no longer stay calm as he called out in shock and terror. Just like Yimo, he knew the golden bow and arrow of divine extermination very well. He won ECT. The world was this small. He just used the arrow to shoot Yimo, and Yimo immediately used the same thing to retaliate, but more ferociously. He didn't dare to stay here one bit. He knew that if he was locked on by the golden bow of divine extermination, he would have to die. But just when he used his mobility technique, Yimo shot the arrow that locked onto him instantly. Thud. The first arrow smashed the flag and golden light dispersed. Clearly, in order to dodge this arrow, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor gave up his most treasured magic artifact. Before he could breathe easy, the second and third arrow came at the same time. You have more than one. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor realized this as the arrows came before him. He could only burn his life force to barely escape the binding. In another thud, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor moved aside a bit, but the arrow destroyed half his body. Then, the third arrow came to him. Just a bit, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said in despair. It was just that one bit, and he would be able to leave using his mobility technique. In an explosion, this extremely cocky Tao Actualization Divine Emperor turned to bloody mist, killed by Yimo's third arrow. Blood light flashed into the sky, even the nearby space was immersed in heat waves. One could see just how terrifying this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's cultivation method was. Yimo grabbed his storage ring and scanned his spirit sense in. He really wanted to know how many good things the sect leader of a god sect had. When Yimo opened this storage ring and scanned his spirit sense in, he was astounded. This wasn't a storage ring, this was a small world. There were 3 top-grade god spirit range, 7 middle-grade god spirit range, and more than 10 low-grade god spirit range. As for forgery materials and god spirit herbs, they were stacked up in mountains. There were more than tens of millions of god crystals. So amazing. Yimo took in a cold breath. He thought he had a lot of things, but compared to this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, he was a peasant. The Du Ting God sect wasn't even one of the 3 big divine sects. This storage ring definitely wasn't all of the asset of the Du Ting God sect. One could imagine just how wealthy the immortal goddess sacred sect and great sun god mountain were. But Yimo shook his head. The Du Ting God sect leader was only a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, while the immortal goddess sacred sect and great sun god mountain had Tao essence divine emperors. He couldn't think about those things now. Congratulations, immortal friend Yi. Li Xiu didn't expect your power to be this strong. I can finally rest assured for Qing Are You to adventure with you. Li Xiu sighed. Yimo's power was indeed shocking. She had guessed that Yimo was only Tao Molding Divine Emperor or Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but with this cultivation level, Yimo could kill a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. This was insane. It was reasonable for an Immortal Emperor primary stage to kill an Immortal Emperor middle stage, but a Tao Molding Divine Emperor killing Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was extremely terrifying. The difference between Tao Molding Divine Emperor and Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was greater than Immortal Emperor and Immortal Monarch. Yimo saluted with his fists. Big Palace Lord, don't know that the Void Marketplace has many powerful people. It's different to the Immortal Realm. I heard there was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor who killed a Tao Essence Divine Emperor in the Void Marketplace. Such terrifying gap is something I didn't dare to imagine before. If I faced a Tao Essence Divine Emperor now, I can only run away. Big Palace Lord, you can have this flying god artifact. I have too many of such things. Yimo pointed at the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's flying god artifact. She knew that Yimo's magic artifact were powerful, and so she didn't reject it. Seeing this, Yimo was very happy. He had things he needed her to do for him. 8 months later, they came to that barren wasteland again. When Yimo came here, he was only Immortal Emperor and his formation skills were just introductory to the Divine Tao Realm formation level. He only saw barren wilderness before and no tunnel. Yimo had studied formation for a few hundreds years in the time formation disk just to seal this formation. When he came here, he immediately found the seal. In time, this seal would only get more obvious. Even ordinary Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would be able to see it. I just know it's here, but I have no way of going in, much less sealing it up again. Li Xiu sighed. Yimo knew her feeling. He felt the same before. Master and brother, ye need to set up formation. Why don't everyone come to my blue bead world to prevent affecting them? Qing Are You said. Yimo wanted to let everyone go to his golden page world, but now that Qing'er Yu said this, he didn't reject it. When everyone went in and Yimo took the blue bead, he took Li Xiu to another place. 2 hours later, they came into a mist. Now, Yimo just threw out a few formation flags and cut open to a bright dimension. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:17 Seal Again. Chapter 21:17 Seal Again. 3 months later, Yimo has set the new sealing formation method. He made piles of formation flags. Mountains of materials were turned into formation flags. A year later, Yimo looked at the pile of formation flags and rejoiced that he encountered the Du Ting God sect leader. Otherwise, with the materials he prepared, it wouldn't even be enough to forge even half of the formation flags. Li Xiu was helping Yimo on the side too, organizing the formation flag types. The two didn't say much, but they were getting more and more worried. They thought that the formation would last decades, but they could visibly see the formation flags deteriorating. With this speed, the formation could completely break in 3 to 5 years, and the tunnel between Immortal Realm to the Divine Dao Realm would completely open. Seeing Yimo only make formation flags, Li Xiu couldn't resist asking Immortal Friend Yi, "Why don't you set up a few formation flags to stabilize the formation first?" Yimo shook his head. "No, if I set up formation flags now, it would be pointless. It would cause trouble for when we set up the formation." Yimo's formation skills were much higher than Li Xiu's. He knew that this formation base was complete. If he repaired the formation on there now, it would damage the formation base. Once he made all the formation flags and set up the formation again, he would damage the base again. Yimo didn't want to do this. Although the formation was about to collapse, Yimo believed that as long as he was here, ordinary people wouldn't be able to go to the Immortal Realm. Unless a Dao Essence Divine Emperor came, but to Yimo, real Dao Essence Divine Emperors or even Dao Actualization Divine Emperors wouldn't even want to go to a lower realm. 2 years later, Yimo finished the last formation flag and found that he had pretty much no materials left. Yimo breathed easy. He finally finished all the formation flags before the formation collapsed. He gave some formation flags to Li Xiu and a formation jade slip. "Big Palace Lord, when you go to the Immortal Realm, just do according to this jade slip." Li Xiu took it and nodded. Yimo waved out a few more formation flags and a clear tunnel appeared in the mist. Seeing Yimo open up a portal to the Immortal Realm so easily, she was very shocked. "Immortal Friend Yi, is there anything else you need me to do?" Li Xiu didn't go in immediately and asked. Yimo thanked that Li Xiu was smart. He took out a storage ring and gave it to her. "Big Palace Lord, there are some god crystals and 2 low-grade god spirit ranges inside and some of my cultivation experience. It's for you." Li Xiu thanked and took the storage ring. She knew that some of the god crystals were for the formation, the rest were for her. Yimo took out another blue bead and gave it to Li Xiu. "This is a small world I spirit controlled. If you have time to go to Gonghua Heaven Mo Yu Immortal Sect, please give this to my wife Luo Ying." This bead was no small world, it was the truth spirit world he got from the purple-robed Immortal Emperor. Yimo placed many things inside, including the storage ring for Yi Ling, Bai Wei, and Qingxue. He gave it to Luo Ying as Luo Ying was like a big sister to them all. No one would think more because Luo Ying had extra things in her hand. Li Xiu took the bead and bowed to Yimo. "Thank you, Immortal Friend Yi, Li Xiu will definitely get this done." Only Li Xiu knew why she was doing something for Yimo and still thanked him. Yimo could have gone back to the Immortal Realm himself, but he chose not to as that would take time and the formation was about to collapse. Yimo knew what she thought, but he didn't completely think like that. He left an opening for the new formation, but it was very costly to leave this opening. He used a Wu Xiong secret gold. It was the highest level formation material and Yimo only had this one piece. He used this just so he had the chance to go back to the Immortal Realm from here. However, he had too little and could only make 3 formation flags with it. 2 of them connected to the formation and 1 opened the formation. The formation can only be used once, so he only had 1 chance to return to the Immortal Realm. When he came back from the void marketplace, he could use this formation flag to return to the immortal realm. This formation was about to collapse, so he didn't have time to go back to the Moyu immortal sect. Compared to the immortal realm, he wanted to go visit the void marketplace even more. Seeking an opportunity to reach Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was one primary reason, but another purpose was that he heard there were people from the abyssal realm at the void marketplace. He wanted to ask if he could get Wanqing's soul from the abyssal realm. Yimo knew that his power was too weak for the abyssal realm. Even primordial essence Divine Emperor Duanmu Yuebwa died from the abyssal realm. Then Li Xiu will leave first. Li Xiu bowed to Yimo and said. Before Yimo could speak, a figure charged into the dark mist. Someone is here already? The person saw Yimo and Li Xiu and was a little shocked, but then he saw that both Yimo and Li Xiu were far weaker than him. Yimo immediately realized that it was right of him to not go back to Moyu immortal sect. This was a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. If he went back, Li Xiu was definitely no match for this person. This person would charge into the immortal realm again. Piss off. This man hacked a red beam at Yimo. Yimo was going to kill this man regardless. Yimo sneered and punched. Shatter Space God Art swept the space lethal force, which instant swept away the red beam and locked onto the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately felt his surroundings were locked as he called out in shock. Despite the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor underestimating Yimo, he still broke free from the fist force lock and released a huge blue bowl. Clank! The bowl was smashed by Yimo's fist force, shaking ripples out of the nearby space. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor released the bowl by force but couldn't completely activate it, and it was punched away. He was smashed by the powerful fist force and spat a few mouthfuls of blood as he flew back. Before he could speak, Yimo waved his hand and 5 lightning spear destruction struck down. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was torn to pieces. Li Xiu was scared. If this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor used the tunnel to get to the immortal realm, then with how he slaughtered without saying anything, the entire immortal realm would turn into his truth spirit world. Big Palace Lord, the ceiling formation is broken and more people will come. Go back to the immortal realm now and we'll set up formation. Yimo took the storage ring and said. Okay, Li Xiu will wait for immortal friend Yi's good news in the immortal realm. Li Xiu said and entered the formation. Ninghai was now a famous city in China purely because a legend, Yimo, once lived here. In an ancient street, there was an old Daoist fortune teller saying your fortune luck hasn't arrived yet. Go back and eat some more sweet potatoes, 3 years later, you might, The old man suddenly got up in surprise and joy and looked at the distant sky. Great, the formation seal is repaired. If it's you then I chose right. Then he ignored the middle-aged man and packed up the stall to leave. Hey, you haven't finished yet, but no matter how the middle-aged man called, the Daoist ignored him and disappeared amongst the crowd in a few minutes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2118 The Tao Fruit Returner is here. Chapter 2118 The Tao Fruit Returner is here. Yimo's spacetime boat had left the immortal realm tunnel now. Mu Xiaoyun, Qing Yu, and them were on the spacetime boat. Even small ginseng came out. Including Yimo, there were 7 people on this. Yimo felt very good. He wanted to seal this formation before he even came to the divine Tao realm. Now that he finally did it, he would be at Gonghua heaven already if he wasn't going to the void marketplace. Going to the void marketplace wasn't a matter of a day or 2. Yimo couldn't use the teleportation formation here. He was prepared to fly long term. Now that everyone was chatting here, Yimo was happy to share his cultivation experience with everyone. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, I might never be able to wake up from the ice god forbidden grounds. Qing Yu sighed again. Yimo had an approximate guess why there would be those frozen girls in the ice god forbidden grounds. Qing Yu didn't explain and Yimo didn't ask. He felt that Qing Yu despised that thing too. Yi Mo was a bit sad thinking that he saved Qing Er with the Heaven Heart Return soul pill because Qing Er had a sliver of soul left. However, Wan Qing's soul had dissipated. Even that pill wouldn't work. Seeing Yi Mo was a bit sad, Qing Er thought he was thinking about the Ice God Palace trapping him with the Ice God formation. Just when she wanted to comfort Yi Mo, she heard Yi Mo suddenly say shadowless, "Stop the space-time boat, we'll go down and have a look." Martial sister Runan, long time no see. Yi Mo walked out of the space-time boat. One of the three was the dark-skinned Nyo Runan. Before, she said that she was going to leave the Hung Godcomer, so seeing her still here, Yi Mo felt a bit strange. "Your martial brother Yi Mo." Nyo Runan immediately recognized Yi Mo. "Why are you still here?" Nyo Runan saw the extremely beautiful Qing Er and Mu Xiaoyun and asked. She knew that Yi Mo offended too many people here. Yi Mo should be going as far away as possible. "Don't worry about why I'm here. I'm asking why you haven't left yet." Yi Mo had a good impression of her. She helped him a lot when he first came to the divine Dao realm. "You have no business here, move aside." The two men with Nyo Runan yelled to Yi Mo. If it wasn't that Yi Mo was no weaker than them, they would have attacked. Yi Mo could tell these two stopped Nyo Runan. He knew that Nyo Runan wouldn't start trouble for no reason, so he raised his palm and slapped over. The man who just spoke was slapped a kilometer away onto a small hill, blasting it to pieces. Nyo Runan knew Yi Mo was powerful, but she didn't expect Yi Mo became this powerful. She looked dazedly at Yi Mo and forgot to speak. The other immortal emperor reacted and immediately said, "We're from the Hung Godcomer." Qian Bei attacked without reason. Before the immortal emperor finished, he was slapped away by Yi Mo again into the other immortal emperor. Both of them couldn't get up. Two immortal emperors were the peak of the immortal realm, but under Yi Mo's hands, they were worse than insects. Nyo Runan reacted and looked gratefully at Yi Mo. "When I left the Mu Hua God Mountain, I left the Hung God Corner. Then, I saw my mother at Shui Yun God Domain. Didn't your mother leave you when you were young?" Yi Mo asked. Nyo Runan nodded yes. "Later I realized that my mother had no choice. When I saw my mother again, I lived happily with her. But at this moment something happened. When we went out, we found a heaven life Dao fruit." Yi Mo asked, "Isn't this a good thing? It can help you learn life and vindicate Dao." Nyo Runan sighed. "This was a good thing, but both of us had no experience in taking Dao fruit. We didn't immediately bind the Dao fruit, causing its Dao waves to seep outside. This caught others' attention and drew over a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. That Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor robbed our Dao fruit but left the Kai of the Dao fruit. This brought over the people of the Hung God Corner. They took away my mother and told me to bring over the Dao fruit I hid. But where can I go find it? I have no Dao fruit." Qing Er sighed. "The Hung God Corner didn't search by force." Nyo Runan said nothing, but Yi Mo sneered. "No, that young mistress wants to preserve her reputation. If Nyo Runan didn't get back the Dao fruit, there would be forced search waiting for her." Qing Er smiled and didn't argue. "Let's go, I'll go with you to the Hung God Corner," Yi Mo said. The Hung God Corner was nothing to him now. Nyo Runan looked at Yi Mo in shock. "Martial brother Yi, the Hung God Corner might have Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. Even if they don't, they definitely have Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor." To Nyo Runan, Yi Mo was strong, but he wasn't a Divine Emperor yet. How could he mess with the Hung Godcomer? "Don't worry, the young mistress owes me. I believe she would show me some face." Yi Mo comforted. Nyo Runan nodded. The Hung God Corner was the same as when Yi Mo came back last time. It was still like a small village. Shadowless, small ginseng and Qiu Rang were sent into the Golden Page world. Mu Xiaoyun, Qing Er and Fu Fei flew before the God Corner with Yi Mo. The two guards clearly knew Nyo Runan. Seeing Nyo Runan bring Yi Mo and them, they said nothing and let them in. The strongest of them was only an immortal emperor. "Runan, who are they?" A pretty green-robed woman appeared. Yi Mo knew this woman, of course. She was the young mistress of the Hung God Corner. She only knew Yi Mo but didn't know the three behind him. When her eyes fell on Qing Er, she was very shocked of Qing Er's looks. She had always been confident in her looks, but in front of Qing Er, she felt embarrassed about herself. Qing Ayu's perfect body and face was like the embodiment of beauty. Even Mu Xiaoyun was better than her. Young mistress, you know Yi Mo. The other three are Yi Mo_s friends. Niu Runan said. Heng Wanman said calmly, in that case, let's go in first. Runan, don't worry, I will definitely help you. Yi Mo sneered, definitely help? Then you wouldn't lock up her mother. Since when was her mother locked up? She's a guest at the Heng God-comer. Heng Wanman's face looked bad. Yi Mo didn't sell the God Heart Stone to her and even took her lightning sound ages fruit. Now that he came to the Heng God corner, don't blame her then. She suspected Yi Mo had powerful means, but what happened before made her feel even more that Yi Mo was with those guys. That's why she could escape. Even if Yi Mo was truly strong and the strongest half-divine, he would have to be obedient in front of the Heng God-comer divine emperors. There were 2 Dao Nourishment divine emperors and 2 Dao Molding divine emperor in the palace. There were also a few immortal emperors and a white-robed woman whose brows were locked in a frown. The atmosphere here was strange. At this moment, the Dao Nourishment divine emperor sitting at the top took out a communication bead and looked at it before laughing. Runan is back and brought that Yi Mo half-divine. One of her lightning sound ages fruit was taken by this person. It seems he has come to return the fruit. He was laughing as he spoke, but the killing intent in his eyes were obvious. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:19 Which Tower Master Yi? Chapter 21:19 Which Tower Master Yi? Runan. That white-robed woman saw Niu Runan come and her eyes dimmed. She knew that both of them wouldn't be able to get away. When she saw Qing Ayu and Mu Xiaoyun, she sighed. How could women like them get away when they came to the Heng God corner? Yi Mo saw Niu Runan's mother. She wore white robes and was very pretty. He was speechless. This woman looked younger and prettier than Niu Runan. Her skin was much whiter too. Not only that, she was a Dao Molding divine emperor too. You're Yi Mo, the one who took the lightning sound ages fruit from Wanman? The Dao Nourishment divine emperor who spoke before said. Yi Mo sat down and told Qing Ayu and them to sit before saying, that's right, I'm Yi Mo, but I didn't take the ages fruit. I made a deal with the young mistress. The other Dao Nourishment divine emperor sneered. He was very unhappy that a mere immortal emperor dared to be this cocky. Made a deal? What could an immortal emperor have to deal with my lightning sound ages fruit? Heng Wanman said in contempt. Yi Mo suddenly looked at Heng Wanman and said, I've seen many shameless women, but someone as shameless as you is a first. How could Yi Mo not know what she meant? She wanted to regret. She completely cast aside him helping her suppress that half-divine. You're asking to die. A Dao Molding divine emperor suddenly got up and was about to attack Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered. He wanted to talk nicely and help Niu Runan find the Heaven Fate Dao fruit, but since the Heng God corner couldn't even wait, then he would fight. Stop. A sneer sounded from the palace and 2 men came out of the door. They were both Dao Actualization divine emperor. Yi Mo immediately recognized the latter man. He was the city lord of Lunlan divine Dao city. Dong and Yi Mo gave him a Dao fruit and he got large amounts of useful information from him. He thought Dong'an was in solitary cultivation or at the God Necropolis domain to break through to Dao Essence Divine Emperor. This is Great Sun God Mountain Elder Dong, the Dao Actualization Divine Emperor who came in with Dong'an said. The people of the Heng God Corner immediately got up to bow. The Great Sun God Mountain was the most dominant sect right now. Who didn't know this? The Heng God Comer Dao Actualization Divine Emperor saw that Yi Mo and them didn't get up and was about to rage. He stopped the Dao Molding Divine Emperor because he didn't want to be rude in front of the Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. However, this little immortal emperor really needs a beating. The Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor was here and he dares to keep sitting. Dong'an saw Yi Mo and immediately smiled as he walked up to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists. So Tower Master Yi is here too. It's really my honor to see Tower Master Yi here. So it's Castle Master Dong, it's indeed a fortunate encounter. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists. The palace immediately fell silent. What place was the great sun god mountain? Many people didn't know originally, but when they reopened their sect, the entire divine Tao realm knows now. They were one of the 3 divine sects and was stronger than the immortal goddess sacred sect before. Now, they even suppressed immortal goddess sacred sect into submission. Such a sect's Tao actualization divine emperor was like the highest emperor of a god corner. Yet this person went up to Yi Mo to greet him. Was Yi Mo, this mere immortal emperor, that powerful? That Hung God corner Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage immediately reacted. The immortal emperor definitely wasn't ordinary or Dong and wouldn't be this polite. Realizing this, his anger dissipated immediately and walked over to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists. Hung Ran is very honored that Tower Master Yi can come to my Hung God corner. He didn't know what Tower Master Yi Mo was, but since Dong called him this, he could only follow. But Yi Mo didn't show him any face and said coldly, really? If it wasn't for Castle Master Dong, perhaps people of the Hung God corner would have attacked me already. Hung Rail's face dazed. He didn't expect Yi Mo to lash out like this. He was a Tao actualization divine emperor, and no matter how high Yi Mo's status was, he was only an immortal emperor. Yi Mo continued after a while, you probably wouldn't feel honored because I came to the Hung God corner to look for trouble today. If I'm unhappy, I will kill people today. Before Hung Rail's face just dazed, but now, Yi Mo's words made him furious. Even if the great sun god mountain Tao actualization divine emperor elder was angry, he would teach him a lesson. His face went green and then he saluted with his fists to Dong and Castle Master Dong. Where does this Tower Master Yi come from? If the Hung God corner mistreated him, we can make up for it. Hung Ran was really furious. His words meant that he could not touch Yi Mo on Castle Master Dong's account, but if Yi Mo didn't have any special relations with the great sun god mountain, then he would go up to get revenge. Dong'an didn't seem to understand this and smiled. Tower Master Yi opened a pill and forgery divine tower at Lunlan Divine Dao City. He's probably roaming around now. If immortal friend Hung wants to compensate, you would probably not find an opportunity. Dong'an sneered inside. Hung Ran was just a Tao actualization divine emperor of the Hung Godcomer, and he was only Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage. Yi Mo wasn't even scared of him and killed the sect leader of the Du Ting God sect. Hung Ran was really a piece of cake to Yi Mo. Hung Ran heard this and his face changed. How could he not understand Dong'an's words? This definitely wasn't sarcasm. He really needed to make compensations. Just who was this Tower Master Yi? Wait, Lunlan Divine Dao City, Pill and Forgery Divine Tower Master? Immediately, Hung Ran understood who Yi Mo was. His face went pale as he saluted with his fists to Yi Mo. Tower Master Yi, are you the Tower Master of the Lunlan Divine Dao City, Luo Yu Pill and Forgery Divine Tower? With this, everyone in the palace realized what was going on. Those 2 Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and Tao Molding Divine Emperor's face went pale. Clearly, they knew who Yi Mo was. A few years ago, Yi Mo killed the sect leader of Du Ting God sect, Wei Xian, outside the Lunlan Divine Dao City. His ferocious name had sprayed. Who was Wei Xian? He was a Tao actualization divine emperor peak stage and was about to reach Tao essence divine emperor. He was very powerful. Ordinary Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stages were nothing to him, and yet such a person wanted revenge against Tower Master Yi and was killed outside the city. News spread slowly in the divine Tao realm, but this news was already known by all the nearby people. His Hung God corner was nothing compared to the Du Ting God sect. Yi Mo killed their sect leader and they didn't do anything to Yi Mo. Now, his Hung God comer wanted to keep Yi Mo. This was suicide. The Tao molding divine emperor who wanted to attack Yi Mo sweated cold. He knew that if Yi Mo wanted to kill him, even the grand sect leader couldn't protect him. Please sit, please sit. Hung Ran's heart shook while he ordered, bring the best wine of our Hung God corner. I need to treat Elder Dong and Tower Master Yi. Dong'an smiled and said nothing. He sat not far from Yi Mo. Hung Wanman's face was purple. She didn't expect this Yi Mo was that powerful. He even killed Tao actualization divine emperor. In the divine Tao realm, who could kill Tao actualization divine emperor? Yi Mo killed the Du Ting God sect leader. Nyo Runen's mother was more cunning and immediately realized this. She quickly dragged Nyo Runen to sit next to Yimo and poured a cup of wine to Yimo. She glanced seductively at Yimo and said Tower Master Yi is Runen's friend. Chenya thanked Tower Master Yi's help towards Runen. Then, she drank the wine and looked seductively at Yimo. Yimo was speechless. Nyo Runen was such a good person. Why did she have such a mother? Nyo Runen was so embarrassed that her head was almost at her leg. Haha, I heard a friend has come to the Hung Godcomer. I've come to celebrate. I hope the friend won't disappoint me. A figure appeared at the palace door. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:20 Look at my strike. Chapter 21:20 Look at my strike. Zhu Guangqi immediately saw Yimo at the door. He came here as he got news of Yimo. When he saw Yimo, killing intent flashed across his eyes, but then he looked shocked as Dongan was here too. Greetings, Castle Master Dong. I didn't expect to see your honorable presence here, Zhu Guangqi said. Then, he looked at Hung Ran and greeted. He was just a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but he wasn't scared of Hung Ran. Yimo saw this person and sneered. He hadn't looked for this guy's trouble, but this guy dared to come to him. So it's Shueyun God City, City Lord Zhu. Dongan saluted with his fists. Shueyun God City Lord was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage Master who was no weaker than Dong, and Zhu Guangqi was the second City Lord of the city. Nyo Runen's mother quickly bowed to this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and said Chenya greet City Lord Zhu. Zhu Guangqi clearly knew Nyo Runen's mother and laughed. Sister Chenya is really getting prettier. Nyo Runen's face looked back. She could tell Zhu Guangqi came here for Yimo and perhaps there was great conflict between them. She didn't want her mother to talk to Zhu Guangqi much, but clearly, their relationship wasn't ordinary. Nyo Chenya seemed to realize Yimo and Zhu Guangqi weren't on good terms and stopped talking. Haha, City Lord Zhu came to my humble residence, please be high-seated. Hung Ran saluted with his fists. Regardless if Yimo was really strong, he could tell that Zhu Guangqi was here for Yimo. It was best that Zhu Guangqi fought with Yimo and Yimo killed Zhu Guangqi and then offend the big City Lord Laro Jin. Then, Laro Jin would fight with Yimo. After Zhu Guangqi sat down, Hung Ran said intentionally, City Lord Zhu really caught me by surprise coming to my Hung God corner. He was indeed scared by Yimo's origin before. Yimo actually killed Du Ting God sect leader. This news was too shocking, but now that he calmed down, he felt things weren't right. First, Yimo was only immortal emperor cultivation level. Even if Yimo hid his power level, he didn't seem old. No matter how talented he was, there was no way he was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage. Second, Yimo knew Dong and was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage. Who knew if Dong was involved in Wei Xian's death? If they joined up to kill Wei Xian and then announced that Yimo did it, no one would be able to tell. After all, Dong represented the Great Sun God Mountain, and if a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Elder of the Great Sun God Mountain suddenly killed the sect leader of a god sect, this was no small matter. It would affect the Great Sun God Mountain's reputation. Now that he thought this through, he was no longer scared of Yimo. Even if he used a proper excuse to kill Yimo, Dong couldn't say anything. Zhu came suddenly this time indeed, I'll apologize first. Zhu Guangqi saw that Dong was here and immediately changed his plans. He would calm Dong first. As for Hung Ran, he believed this guy wouldn't stop him. City Lord Zhu, you're too polite. I'm happy that City Lord Zhu is here at my Hung God corner. How can I blame you? Hung Ran said with a face of smile. Zhu Guangqi could see Hung Ran's attitude and he immediately said, I came here to get revenge today. I was set up by this person, but Castle Master Dong and immortal friend Hung are both here. This is quite troubling. Zhu Guangqi could tell Hung Ran didn't have any intentions of protecting Yimo. He cared about Dong and laughed, I came here and happened to encounter immortal friend Hung. If City Lord Zhu wants to get revenge from someone, then please do. I won't say anything nor intervene. Hung Ran said, even if an elder of the Hung God Corner offended City Lord Zhu, I won't dare to say anything if City Lord Zhu wants to kill. Zhu Guangqi quickly got up and saluted with his fists. Thank you, Castle Master Dong. Thank you, immortal friend Hung. He was waiting for this. If it wasn't for the Mu Hua God Mountain, he could slap Yimo to pieces. Yimo, it took me a long time to find you. I've stationed people out everywhere and now I've finally found you today. I hope you don't disappoint me. Zhu Guangqi said. Hung Ran's face suddenly changed. City Lord Zhu, immortal friend Yi is a VIP of our Hung God Corner. Is the person you're looking for immortal friend Yi? This. Yimo saw Hung Ran's face and felt disgusted. His act was so revolting. Zhu Guangqi frowned. Immortal friend Hung, you agreed before, are you going to regret now? Hung Ran clenched his fists and sighed. After a while sigh, never mind. Immortal friend Yi is a VIP of our Hung God Corner. Please, how could Zhu Guangqi not know that Hung Ran was putting on a show? Perhaps this guy wanted Yimo dead more than himself. He said calmly, of course, I will take immortal friend Hung into account, don't worry. Yimo, this is someone else's guest hall. It would affect people talking here. Why don't we go out to resolve things? Zhu Guangqi said. What thing are you? How dare you let Tower Master go out? Fu Fei couldn't take it and pointed at Zhu Guangqi's nose and asked. A mere immortal emperor middle stage dares to talk. Zhu Guangqi sneered and grabbed at Fu Fei. Yimo suddenly got up and grabbed too. Clap. Zhu Guangqi's punch was slapped by Yimo's palm. Zhu Guangqi retreated a few steps before standing still. He looked at Yimo with uncertainty, not knowing what was going on. Zhu, I hate trouble, and although I really wanted to kill you, I didn't want to go find you. I didn't expect you to be so understanding to come to me. In that case, look at my strike. Then, Yimo hacked Shatter Space down. In that instant, everywhere was filled with this extremely intense lethal force except where Qing Yu and them stood. A twisted sword rune appeared like a poisonous dragon that attacked at Zhu Guangqi. When Zhu Guangqi found that Yimo's twisted sword rune was a top-level god art, the rune already completely locked onto him. Zhu Guangqi knew now that Yimo definitely wasn't immortal emperor but a divine emperor who might even be stronger than him. He released a water light that barely sealed his surroundings. Rumble, divine emperor domains clashed and Zhu Guangqi's domain crumbled like an egg. Thud, the twisted sword rune fell and sliced across Zhu Guangqi's broken domain and onto his water light. The light was like a bowl that was filled with water and then broken. It exploded everywhere. This was far from the end. Powerful god essence exploded and the palace was turned to pieces by this explosion. A few weaker people of the Hung God Corner was sent flying by the concussion. Hung Wanman was an immortal emperor, but even she spat blood in mid-air. Yimo didn't have any environmental protection awareness fighting here. It seemed like he didn't know this palace was destroyed. At the same time, he used Shatter Space Fist Force. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21:21 Not a Rush to Piss Off. Chapter 21:21 Not a Rush to Piss Off. The waterlight was released too hastily and couldn't completely stop Yimo's falling mark sword rune. The sword rune sliced from Zhu Guangqi's shoulder. Half of his body flew off. Castle Master Dong, save me, Zhu Guangqi said. Dong set up a barrier around himself. Those explosion essence Kai were blocked by the barrier, but he acted as though he didn't see this rooftop being opened. He said slowly, I said before City Lord Zhu attacked that I wouldn't be helping either sides. I'm a man of my words. Immortal friend Heng, Zhu Guangqi immediately looked at Hung Ran and barely released his water light again. Thud. These were Zhu Guangqi's last 3 words. His water light exploded before he released it and his body was turned to bloody mist by Yimo's space-lethal force. The next moment, Yimo took a storage ring and appeared back on his seat. The group sat in this open-sky palace but no one dared to speak now. Other than those who knew Yimo, everyone in the Hung God Corner were scared by Yimo's attack. Yi Mo killed a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor in just about 10 seconds. That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor City Lord who was about to get revenge from Yi Mo didn't have anything left of him after 10 seconds. Yi Mo looked at Hung Ran and said, "You're the strongest at Hung Godcomer? I accidentally blew up your guest palace roof. It's fine, small matter. If the old doesn't go, the new won't come. I'll just build a new guest palace." From the looks of it, Yi Mo really killed the Du Ting God sect leader alone. Hung Ran definitely wouldn't doubt that Yi Mo dared to annihilate his Hung Godcomer. But Yi Mo didn't care and said with a sunken face, "You're fine with it, but I'm not. I told you before. I came to look for trouble. I've already killed one, I don't mind killing more." Yi Mo knew the survival laws here. If he didn't have power, he would have long been killed. If he had this power and still acted timidly, people would look down on him. Hung Ran sighed. What was to come eventually came. He didn't even think about asking for help from Dong En. He knew the two were much closer. If Tower Master Yi has anything, just make an order. If anything from the Hung God corner offended Tower Master Yi, I will definitely not let them go. Then, Hung Ran palmed down and the Tao Molding Divine Emperor who wanted to attack Yi Mo was palmed out a few thousand meters. Seeing that Tao Molding Divine Emperor spit blood mid-air, people knew that Hung Ran didn't hold back. Yi Mo didn't even look at Hung Ran's act and just looked at Nyo Runen's mother. "I'm friends with Runen and I saw her on the way. I heard you were kept here by force and they robbed your Heaven Fate Tao fruit. Is that so?" Hearing this, Hung Ran's face changed. He finally realized why Yi Mo came to here. Yi Mo came for the Heaven Fate Tao fruit. He definitely wouldn't believe Yi Mo came to save Nyo Runen and her mother. Realizing this, Hung Ran stared at the two other Tao Nourishment Divine Emperors and asked, "What is this?" If it was someone else standing up for the mother and daughter, this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would dare to bullshit, but he saw Yi Mo's power clearly. If he dared to tell any lies, he would be immediately killed. Realizing this, he got up and said, "Because we knew that Runen and her mother got a Tao fruit, so we had bad intentions. We know we were severely wrong to do this and we're willing to give the greatest compensation, embarrassment. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor cursed. If he really got the Heaven Fate Tao fruit, he might have the chance to reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but now, Yi Mo knew about this. Nyo Runen got up and said, "The Tao fruit isn't on us. It was taken by a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor." That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor then purposely spilled the kai of the fruit to make us the scapegoat. Nyo Runen's mother quickly added that Tao fruit was indeed taken away and I have some impression of that person. Hearing this, Yi Mo knew that she didn't dare to say who took it before. This meant that the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was quite possibly here. "Tell me, even if you think that Hung Ran took it, no one would dare to touch you," Yi Mo said coldly. Facing Yi Mo's extreme condescension, Hung Ran was extremely furious, but he didn't dare to attack. Yi Mo said this because he wanted to annihilate the Hung God corner but haven't found an excuse yet. Nyo Chenye pointed at the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor who didn't speak and said, "I don't believe I'm wrong, it's him." "Bullshit, I never even saw the Heaven Fate Tao fruit," this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said. This was no joke. If he pissed off Yi Mo, he would lose his life. Hung Ran's face sunk and he looked at the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor Jian Jie. "Be honest, did you take the Heaven Fate Tao fruit?" "Grand Sect Leader, it's definitely not me," the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said without hesitation. Nyo Chenye was experienced. She knew that she had to be firm with her ground. She got up and said without hesitation, "I have a power, and that is if I touch any man, I would never forget his kai." Nyo Runen's face was red hearing this. She knew that her mother was quite promiscuous and had been with many men. So, she was very sensitive to men's kai. Yi Mo didn't think about that. He knew that after reaching Immortal Emperor, people almost had no smell on them, only kai. Jian Jie was extremely furious and wanted to accuse Nyo Chenye. Then, he felt a powerful twisted ripple fall from the sky that completely locked onto him. Great Primordial God Rune. Jian Jie was scared soulless at this moment. The ferocious name of the Great Primordial God Rune was too great, and now, the Great Primordial God Rune appeared in the Hung God corner. In that instant, He wanted to run away by force, but Yimo's great primordial god rune was tens of times stronger than before. His body was locked by the lethal force of the great primordial god rune, and that twisted space still sliced across his arm. The next moment, his arm appeared before Yimo, and Yimo pulled off a storage ring by force. That arm was thrown on the ground like hay. Hungrail's fury was completely quenched by that great primordial god rune. He only had endless terror. Yimo had the great god art great primordial god rune. Such ferocious god rune wasn't something he could deal with. He was certain that if he fought Yimo, even if he wasn't instantly killed, he would definitely die. Just who was this Yimo? He was too terrifying. Hungran just wanted to send Yimo out as quickly as possible. Yimo wasn't something they could take on. As for joining up with the Shui Yun God City against Yimo, he gave up this idea after seeing great primordial god rune. Yimo's spirit sense blades quickly broke the storage ring restriction and took out a jade box. When he opened it, there was a yellow Dao fruit sitting in the middle. Heaven Fate Dao fruit. Almost everyone recognized this. Jianjie's face went terrifyingly pale. Bastard, piss off. Hungran seemed extremely furious and palmed Jianjie, who flew out. But halfway, he was punched back by Yimo. Not a rush, let's sort things out first. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-22 Yimo's character. Chapter 21-22 Yimo's character. Hengran was scared of Yimo immediately killing Jianjie and wanted to slap him away, but Yimo dragged Jianjie back. Now, even Dong'an said nothing. Although he knew that Yimo killed the sect leader of Du Ting God Sect and was probably a bit stronger than him, he didn't really mind. He believed that even if he was no match for Yimo, he could run away. But now that he saw Yimo's great god art great primordial god rune, he immediately knew that if he fought with Yimo, he probably wouldn't be able to get away from the great primordial god rune. When one reached a higher level with the great primordial god rune, it could not long seal space, twist space, but even lock and twist realms. The name of this ferocious god art was too terrifying. Now, he thought of the great primordial god rune Dao fruit Yimo gave him. He immediately knew that it wasn't that Yimo didn't need it. It was either Yimo had too much or he wanted to know about the Void Marketplace too much. Tower Master Yi, this is the fault of the Hung God Corner. It's right for you to be angry. We're willing to be completely responsible for this. Then, he came up to Niu Chenye and saluted with his fists immortal friend Chenye. This is the fault of the Hung God Corner. We're willing to make compensations. Niu Chenye breathed easy. Regardless, with Yimo here, they would no longer be locked up at the Hung God Corner. Yimo was rude to Hung Godcomer, but she didn't dare to be like that. She quickly returned the favor. No need for compensation. I just want to leave here with Runan. I just hope the Hung Godcomer won't look for our trouble in the future. Hung Ran rejoiced, but before he could talk, Yimo sneered, if you leave so easily, then aren't you too easily abused? Runan, Niu Runan got up and said, Martial Brother Yi, I've been taken care of by the young mistress and I owe her a lot. This can be let go. Oh. Yimo glanced at Hung Wonman, who didn't dare to talk. You've already paid her back at the Mu Hua God Mountain. Hung Wonman's face looked bad. Even though she knew that Niu Runan left Hung God Corner due to what happened at the Mu Hua God Mountain, but when it was spoken out, it was something else. Yimo said to Hung Ran, if you mess with me I wouldn't be so easy to talk to. But since Runan is willing to let it go, then never mind. Compensate however much you need to compensate. Hearing this, Hung Ran quickly took out 2 storage ring and gave it to the 2. This is a small gift, please don't reject it. The 2 knew that with Yimo here, they wouldn't be able to reject it, so they took it. Yimo gave the jade box to Niu Chenye. This is your Heaven Fate Dao fruit. It's returned to you. How could she take it? Niu Chenye quickly said, Tower Master Yi, we don't dare to take it and we can't take it. Thank you for helping us, it's yours. Yimo didn't hesitate and took it. Okay, in that case, let's go. Dong'an and Hung Ran weren't surprised that Yimo took the Heaven Fate Dao fruit. Heng Ran wanted Yi Mo to go, but he could still only say it was our honor for Tower Master Yi to arrive at the Heng God Corner. Dong'an got up and said thank you for your treat, immortal friend Heng. I'll be leaving with Tower Master Yi. Farewell. Outside the Heng God Corner, Dong'an saluted with his fists, immortal friend Yi. I'll be off now. I'm out to go to the God Necropolis domain to prepare to break through to Tao Essence Divine Emperor. I believe you're going to the Void Marketplace, right? Perhaps we will meet again there. Yi Mo saluted with his fists, then good luck on reaching Tao Essence Divine Emperor soon, but it's not easy to come out of the God Necropolis domain after going in. Dong'an didn't explain how to come out. He just said a few more words and left. 3 months later, the space-time boat passed a new divine Tao city. Nyo Runan and her mother left the boat and said goodbye. Yi Mo let them go and dashed off on the space-time boat. We were lucky for Martial Brother Yi. If it wasn't for him, we probably couldn't leave the Heng God Corner. Nyo Runan sighed. Nyo Chenya sighed. Runan, your friend is really good. He helped us a lot. Martial Brother Yi is a very nice person. He would rather suffer a loss himself than let friends suffer a loss. Nyo Runan said. Nyo Chenya patted Nyo Runan's shoulder. Runan, Tower Master Yi is indeed a good person, but not someone who would rather take a loss for himself. You've seen two little people. The men I've seen. Mum, can you mention something else you've seen? Nyo Runan frowned. Her mother was much prettier, but she really didn't like her promiscuity. Plus, Martial Brother Yi is indeed a good person. If he isn't nice, there are no nice people in the world. Okay. Nyo Chenya saw that Nyo Runan was sided with Yi Mo and stopped. She hesitated before saying, if Tower Master Yi is really the type of person you said him to be, he wouldn't take the Heaven Fate Tao fruit. Of course, even if he did take it, his character is the best I've seen. Nyo Runan frowned. He gave it to you, but you didn't want it. Plus, what do we need that Tao fruit for? Nyo Chenya poked Nyo Runan's head with her finger. You idiot. What use is the Heaven Tao fruit for? Tao vindication, of course. We have so many God crystals and cultivation resources now. You would soon be able to reach Immortal Emperor peak stage, and then you can use the Tao fruit to vindicate Tao. If the Tao fruit is left with Martial Brother Yi, it would have greater use. Nyo Runan said. Let's not take about this, we'll go to the city and rent a cultivation home and start solitary cultivation. It's a waste not to use these things. Nyo Chenya said. Okay, Nyo Runan took out a jade box from the storage ring. Isn't this the jade box for Heaven Fate Tao fruit? Nyo Runan was shocked. Don't open it. Nyo Chenya was experienced and quickly took the box. Before her spirit sense went in, she saw the words Runan, you got this Tao fruit, now I give it back to you. Vindicate Tao quickly. Nyo Runan immediately said, since when did Brother Yi put the box in my storage ring? How come I didn't know? Put it away quickly. After Nyo Runan put the box away, Nyo Chenya sighed. It seems I'm wrong this time. That Tower Master Yi is really the type of person you said he was. Chimpage, I knew it. How can I not know Martial Brother Yi's character? He wouldn't care about a Tao fruit. Nyo Runan said. Nyo Chenya sighed. I thought wrong of him. The reason he took it and then gave it back to us was because he was scared people would come after us. I've met so many men, how come I didn't meet Tower Master Yi? If I was with him, then, Mum, can you stop being so embarrassing? Nyo Runan's face went red and she left. Yi Mo was flying faster and faster. Dong'an's jade slip said he needed to leave the divine Tao realm and enter the void to find the void marketplace. You couldn't leave the realm from anywhere. Even though the divine Tao realm was broken, it was still boundless. The direction towards the void marketplace was set. If you missed the point, then even with the location disk, you wouldn't be able to find the right location. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-23 Yi Mo meet with Bingyu. Chapter 21-23 Yi Mo meet with Bingyu Golden Immortal Primary Stage. Yi Mo opened her eyes in joy. She put away her immortal Carnage Tower and Formation Disc before walking out of a distant valley. Ever since she was scared by that 9-headed void-devouring bug, she didn't dare to go out. She had been hiding in distant places. Yimo like Yimo grew up from all kinds of fights. She knew the hardship of cultivation and knew survival was hard. If it wasn't that 100 kilometers dark red beam that drove away the 9-headed void-devouring bug, she would probably be dead. Feeling the danger of the immortal realm, she chose to go into solitary cultivation immediately. She collected more than 100 storage ring in the Bing Cheong Immortal City. She got large amounts of immortal crystals and immortal artifact from inside as well as all sorts of immortal pill. Due to these things, she was able to reach golden immortal primary stage in such a short time. The things she collected were far from being used up. Yimo released a low-grade flying immortal artifact and was ready to find a place with people to ask about Yimo. She had never seen an immortal she could talk to after all these years of immortal ascension. A few days later, a huge immortal city appeared in Yimo's spirit sense again. Yimo had never seen such a grand city. The 4 words "by ye immortal city" hung high in the clouds. Many immortals were going in and out of the city. This name was really good, Yimo thought as she landed at the city gates. When she got to the door, she was dazed. At the city gates, there was a purple gold statue that was taller than the city, and the statue was her father Yimo. Next to the statue were some immortal essence words. Yimo Grand Emperor's Immortal Ascension City. There was a very precise introduction. After Yimo ascended from the cultivation realm, the first city he came to was the Bai Immortal City. There was even his old residence. It was written by the Wen Ju Heaven Lord Ge Bai Wen. Although in her heart, her dad was the strongest person in the world, but she knew that was just what her thought. In fact, she knew her father was much stronger than many people. When she saw this statue, she knew that if her dad wasn't strong, there was no way he would be made into a statue here. Yimo became excited. If Dad's statue was here, then it wouldn't be hard to find him. You know him? A voice suddenly appeared next to Yimo. Of course. Yimo subconsciously answered. Then she realized things weren't right. She knew no one here. She subconsciously turned around and saw a blue-robed woman who was slightly taller than her. She wore a blue veil on her face, but Yimo was shocked. Even though she hadn't seen this woman's beauty, she felt amazed from the bottom of her heart. Yimo was extremely pretty-looking herself, but she knew she wasn't as good-looking as Susu and Auntie Qingxue. This woman made her feel that just in terms of looks, even Auntie Susu was not as beautiful as her. Yet, she hadn't even seen how this woman looked. But then she shook her head. It must be a wrong feeling. The blue-robed woman frowned and sighed at the bottom of her heart. Why does every pretty woman know him? Qianbei, I'll be going in the city first. Yimo said. She felt this blue-robed goddess was countless times stronger than her. Even if she was to ask for her dad's whereabouts, she wouldn't ask this Qianbei. The blue-robed woman smiled. Let's go in the city together. I'm Zhen Bingyu. Don't call me Qianbei anymore, just call me sister. Yimo dazed, but she quickly reacted and said yes, Sister Bingyu, I'm Yi Yimo. Yi Yimo? Your surname is Yi? Zhen Bingyu subconsciously looked at Yimo's statue and asked Yimo, what relationship are you with Brother Yi? Brother Yi? Yimo immediately realized that this Qianbei knew her dad. She was speechless. She thought the same. Why did every pretty woman she met knew her dad? Yes, Sister Bingyu, Yimo is my dad. I just ascended to the immortal realm and I'm planning to find my dad. Yimo said. What? You're Yimo's daughter? Zhen Bingyu looked at Yimo in disbelief. But she soon calmed down. This was normal. If Yimo was willing to be with her at the time, maybe their daughter would be this old. Perhaps she would have a son with Yimo? Sister Bingyu, do you know my father? Yimo asked. She then saw Zhen Bingyu blush a little and immediately knew that she must have some special relationship with her dad. Oh. Yes, I'm Brother Yi's friend. Is your mum Su Jingwen? Zhen Bingyu asked. Yimo immediately asked, enjoy Sister Bingyu, you know Auntie Jingwen? Where is she? Hearing this, Zhen Bingyu immediately knew that Yimo wasn't Su Jingwen's daughter. This meant that Yimo had other wives. Zhen Bingyu felt a little bitter and pulled Yimo's hand. Yimo, let's go find a place to stay in the city and talk. Sister Bingyu, no wonder my dad is friends with you. Yimo felt that Zhen Bingyu didn't have any condescension. Zhen Bingyu smiled and didn't explain. She wasn't like this when she first met Yimo. She changed due to Yimo. Every time she felt lonely, she would think of the times she was with Yimo. That was the happiest moments of her life. If time could flow back, she would rather stay with Yimo or get carried by him. She searched for higher states and been to many places over the years, but she had never met someone like Yimo. Perhaps there were, but Yimo was unique to her now. In an immortal rest tower, Yimo saw Zhen Bingyu's looks and was amazed. Sister Bingyu, you're really pretty. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Yimo, you're very pretty too. To me, looks is just a skin bag, I don't care about it much. Zhen Bingyu then started to tell Yimo about Yimo and Mo Yu immortal sect. She told Yimo everything she knew. Sister Bingyu, you're saying that Beiwei and Auntie Jingwen are all at Mo Yu immortal sect? My dad went to the God Necropolis domain. Yimo felt sad. She didn't get to see her dad. Yes, your dad went to the God Necropolis domain, but it's not easy to get there. Only immortal emperors can get to the God Necropolis domain. The God Necropolis domain is much more dangerous than the immortal realm. It's boundless, and even immortal emperors are insects there. These words made Yimo gasp. She wasn't just a newly ascended noob anymore. From the jade slips in the storage rings, she knew the cultivation levels of the immortal realm. She even derived her own cultivation method to Golden Immortal. Immortal Emperor was the highest status immortal being, but in Sister Bingyu's words, they were insects in the God Necropolis domain. Wouldn't Dad be in danger to go to the God Necropolis domain? Sister Bingyu, my dad is only Immortal Emperor cultivation level. Wouldn't it be dangerous for him to go to God Necropolis domain? Yimo asked. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Yimo, don't worry. He's different to ordinary people, I know him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-24 Border of the Divine Tao Realm. Chapter 21-24 Border of the Divine Tao Realm. Hearing this, Yimo finally felt more assured. She really wanted to ask if Zhen Bingyu was husband and wife relationship with her dad, but she felt she shouldn't ask such things. She would go back to Mo Yu Immortal Sect and asked Auntie Jingwen. Mo Yu Immortal Sect Su Jingwen and Tang Beiwei are now at the Chaos Star Realm. If you go to Mo Yu Immortal Sect, you probably can't find them. Zhen Bingyu said. She could tell Yimo wanted to go find them first. Zhen Bingyu didn't go to the Mo Yu Immortal Sect, but she cared a lot about the news there, especially people related to Yimo. Where is the Chaos Star Realm? Yimo asked. It's a place for trial that can allow people to break through quickly, especially body refinement. Zhen Bingyu spoke as she thought of the times she cultivated body refinement with Yimo. Sister Bingyu, I want to go there too. I want to hurry up and reach Immortal Emperor and go find my dad. Yimo said. Zhen Bingyu looked dazedly at Yimo. When Yimo went, he was at least Golden Immortal middle stage, but now Yimo was only Golden Immortal primary stage. But she soon said, okay, I'll go alone with you. I'll teach you body refinement and take you to dig immortal crystals. She thought of the times Yimo carried her to dig immortal crystals. Although she didn't care about those immortal crystals, she still remembered this. Only she and Yimo knew of that place, and she had been there more than once. Every time she went to the Chaos Star Realm, she would go to the places she had been with Yimo. Yimo was shocked. She knew that usually, someone as powerful as Zhen Bingyu couldn't go with a Golden Immortal primary stage to a place for trial. Wouldn't that waste too much of your time? Yimo asked. Zedbywire smiled. No, Brother Yi cultivated body refinement with me and dug immortal crystals with me. Now, I'll go with you. Sister Bingyu, cultivated body refinement together. Yimo realized. Zhen Bingyu's face froze for a moment and knew she said the wrong things. What did cultivating body refinement together mean? Most body refinement meant you were naked. She didn't care about this before as she only pursued Tao, but now she did. Seeing Zhen Bingyu's awkward face, Yimo quickly said, Sister Bingyu, then come with me, you can teach me body refinement. Of course. My body refinement cultivation method came from Brother Yi, now I'll just give it back to you. Zhen Bingyu said. Seeing Zhen Bingyu's extremely beautiful face, Yimo sighed. If this was on Earth, this was unimaginable. Yimo didn't know about Yimo meeting with Zhen Bingyu. He was answering some of Fu Fei's cultivation questions. Fu Fei progressed very fast with Yimo's tutelage. Going to the divine Tao realm border wasn't a matter of a day or two. Even with Yimo's middle-grade flying god artifact, it would take a few years. Fu Fei went back to cultivation after asking questions. Qing Aryu and Mu Xiaoyun's state was low and they had the best cultivation resources, so Yimo suggested them to stay in the Golden Page world. Yimo separated the Chaos Kai of the Golden Page world. Fu Fei and them knew Yimo's Golden Page world wasn't simple, but they didn't think it was a chaos world. They all thought it was a truth spirit world. With the God Spirit range-powered spirit gathering formation and large amounts of resources, everyone's cultivation speed was fast except for Shadowless and Qiu Rang. Ever since Shadowless could speak, Yimo tried to stop it from devouring Essence Spirit. It could help speed up his progression, but Yimo knew there were side effects to this. Those Divine Emperor Essence Spirits he killed were impure. The more Shadowless devoured, the more damage it did to him. Essence Spirit and Emperor Tao Crystal was different. One couldn't simply devour it. In order to make Shadowless evolve, he would need to use real treasures or find energy that has no self-will. Yimo flew the space-time boat while practicing forgery at the front. To him, forgery or pill concoction or even traveling was a type of cultivation. Divine Emperor and Immortal Emperor were two completely different levels. Immortal Emperors needed large amounts of cultivation resources and mastery of God art, but Divine Emperor not only needed cultivation resources but also understanding of Tao. No matter which Tao you choose, the Tao you vindicate determines the height you reach. Even if you break through a small bit, you would need to have a deep understanding of your Tao. Yimo didn't use Tao fruit nor God art law to vindicate Tao. He severed all sorts of useless laws and god arts and eventually used the chaos world to fuse his body with chaos and vindicate the chaos Tao. Through that, he then came back to perfect his chaos world. Because he used himself as the Tao foundation, he could learn anything in any world to perfect his Tao. Time flew by. 6 years later, the space-time boat was near the border of the divine Tao realm. Yimo's spirit sense scanned to some buildings. Yimo thought that the realm border to the Void Marketplace would be very barren, but when he came here, he realized this wasn't the case. There was actually quite some people. Yimo slowed down the space-time boat. Fu Fei woke up now. Yimo's spirit sense scanned the Golden Page world and found that Qing Aryu had reached Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage. Qing Aryu and Mu Xiaoyun both didn't use Time Formation Disc. Qing Aryu and Mu Xiaoyun came out of the Golden Page world. Yimo wasn't sure if people went to the Void Marketplace from here, so he called everyone out to prevent people knowing he had a truth spirit world. People could live in the small world and cultivation homes, but no one would stay there for long-term cultivation. If these people suddenly appeared, it would make people suspicious. Yimo landed from the space-time boat and immediately caught people's attention. Those who came here were without a doubt going to the Void Marketplace. Dong'an said it was usually Tao Nourishment Divine Emperors who went to the Void Marketplace, but Yimo saw many Immortal Emperors here. There were even some Immortal Monarchs. There was not a single Great Eternity Immortal like Qing Aryu. But soon Yimo understood what Dong'an meant. Although there were Immortal Emperor and Immortal Monarchs here, they were clearly with Tao Actualization Divine Emperors. The reason this group caught attention was that the strongest of them was Yimo, who seemed to only be Immortal Emperor power. Immortal Emperor taking a Great Eternity Immortal to the Void Marketplace? This was a huge joke. For friends, have you come to find people or find a place to stay? A cunning-looking Immortal Emperor middle stage came up to them. To him, Yimo and them were definitely not going to the Void Marketplace but here to meet up with Sect Qianbei's. No, we want to enter the Void from here and go to the Void Marketplace. Yimo said. What? Not only was this Immortal Emperor middle stage shocked but everyone else nearby. 2 immortal emperors, 1 immortal monarch and a great eternity immortal was going to the void marketplace? This was suicide. You guys are going to the void marketplace? This immortal emperor asked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-25 Long Time Queuing Up. Chapter 21-25 Long Time Queuing Up. Emo could only repeat yes. We're going to the void marketplace. The immortal emperor finally realized that he didn't hear wrong and said, did you book a spot? Book spot? Emo asked in confusion and said, we're going to fly over ourselves, we didn't book. The immortal emperor middle stage realized that Emo and them knew nothing. He said speechlessly the lowest requirement to the void marketplace middle grade flying god artifact was before. Now, it's very hard to go to the void marketplace alone. The immortal emperor looked at the 3 behind Emo and shook his head. Emo could tell that the news he got from Dawn and was a little different from reality. Seeing this immortal emperor about to leave, he quickly asked immortal friend, may I ask why it can't be done anymore? This immortal emperor was a nice person and explained because the void realm to the void marketplace isn't very stable. Ordinary flying magic artifact would disassemble mid-flight. Only large vessels could stay intact in this void. This was before. Now, there are void pirates on the way to the void marketplace. They knew that the people heading to the void marketplace had many good things, so they rob people on the way. If you go to the void marketplace alone, then even if you get close to the void marketplace, you would die for sure. Emo realized what he meant and knew that Dawn didn't lie to him. Dawn went to the void many tens of millenniums ago. At that time, the void pirates weren't that strong. Plus, Dawn was from the great sun god mountain. They probably had an extremely powerful flying magic artifact. Dawn didn't say this probably because he thought that he was a pill divine and it wouldn't be hard for him to get on. Then why are these people here? Emo pointed at the people going to and fro. The immortal emperor laughed. There aren't many ships flying to the void marketplace. There are limited spots too. There would be a vessel once every 100 years. These immortal friends are lining up for the ship. Lining up for 100 years. This is so long. Mu Xiaoyun took in a cold breath. How much longer till the ship comes? Emo asked. 2 more years. If you really want to go to the void marketplace, you would have quite some luck on the ship. The immortal emperor smiled. Emo sighed indeed, since there's only 2 years, we'll order tickets too. Thank you, immortal friend. The immortal emperor's face was a little awkward. Immortal friend, by 2 years I meant the ship that's about to head to the void marketplace. The tickets were sold out a few decades ago. If you want to buy tickets, you would have to order tickets for the ship 102 years later. Line up for 102 years. Emo sighed. The immortal emperor shook his head and didn't answer. This wasn't very long. Soon, it would be lining up for 200 years. The demand for tickets to the void marketplace was increasing. Who could be sure people wouldn't mass buy tickets and resell them? Emo knew that going to the void marketplace wasn't as simple as he had thought, so he saluted with his fists to this immortal emperor. Immortal friend, do you know if there's immortal rest tower here? We need some rest. There are. What sort of rooms do you want? A low-grade room costs 500 top-grade god crystals a day, middle-grade room costs 1,000 top-grade god crystals, top-grade costs 5,000 top-grade god crystals, and small ginseng costs 10,000 top-grade god crystals. The immortal emperor's face went bright hearing there was business. Emo took in a cold breath. This price was too absurd. How much would 1 year be? How much would 10 years be? Was this robbery? Were all the people here that wealthy? How come no one was living outside the buildings? As though seeing Emo's confusion, this immortal emperor explained those who bought the ticket would live in this area. You guys haven't bought the tickets, so you don't have to stay here, but I suggest that you stay here. It would be much safer. Emo nodded. He understood that the large area of buildings here weren't for free. It was made to serve the people heading to the void marketplace and to earn their wealth. According to this immortal emperor, There seemed to be danger if you didn't stay here. Although the price here was very high, Yimo could afford it now. So he said to this immortal emperor, "Give me 3 middle-grade rooms." This immortal emperor was a little stunned, but then he said happily, "Okay, follow me." He thought the 4 of them would at most stay in the same low-grade room together, but they were actually wealthy. Even some powers and sects only took middle-grade rooms. For weak immortals not only lived in middle-grade rooms but didn't have a sect to back them up. This immediately spread out. Yimo didn't know about this. He stayed in here not to wait for the ship but to see if he could buy some materials and upgrade his spacetime boat again. Even if he couldn't upgrade speed, he would upgrade defenses. Of course, he also wanted to see if there were people who wanted to sell their tickets. Yimo didn't think that Immortal Emperor was bullshitting. In the void, he might encounter powerful beings from any realm. No matter how confident he was, he didn't think he could dominate all of the void between the realms. There definitely was Tao Essence Divine Emperor on the ship to the void marketplace, and maybe more than one. The middle grade room was pricey, but the God Spirit Kai here was ample. There were all sorts of immortal spirit tea and wine. Of course, that would come at extra costs. "Stay in room and cultivate, I'll go down and have a look," Yimo said to Mu Xiaoyun and them. Now, Fu Fei had a room, Qing'ayu had a room, while Yimo shared a room with Mu Xiaoyun. Yimo learned that although there were a lot of buildings here, all shops belonged to powers here. There were a lot of immortals living in this row of immortal rest tower, and at the very bottom was a lounge. There were people coming in and out doing deals, discussing cultivation, and resolving conflict. Yimo was going to this lobby now. He needed to find out some news. If he really couldn't upgrade Spacetime Boat and couldn't buy a ticket off someone, he would go into the void alone. He had to go to the void, and he wasn't willing to wait another 100 years. Yimo saw here that although there were a lot of people, it wasn't noisy. There were sound barrier restrictions set up everywhere. In the middle of the lobby, there was a round sign spinning. It wrote what was needed and what was rewarded. "Immortal friend, do you want to put up a sign? If you do, I can help you." An extremely pleasant voice sounded. Yimo saw a pretty-looking woman and immediately said, "Yes, I want to write out my needs on the sign. I need top materials to forge flying magic artifact. Second, I need 4 tickets towards to the void marketplace for the ship 2 years later. Put this at an obvious place. The reward is..." Yimo hesitated and said, "Those who wants god crystals, we can discuss in person." Yimo wanted to say Dao fruit. He had one, but he gave up this thought. This wasn't Lunlan Divine Dao City. Even if he said he only had one, who knew what consequences would arise? His cultivation level wasn't the strongest here. Yimo saw that in this 1,000-people lobby, there were tens of Dao Actualization Divine Emperors. Although there were no Dao Essence Divine Emperor, this was still very scary. Okay, if it's headline, then it costs 50k top-grade god crystals for a day. The pretty woman said. So expensive. But Yimo could only give her 100k god crystals. "Please be seated at 764, we'll immediately put the sign up for you," the pretty woman said. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-26, The Thing Yimo Took OU. Chapter 21-26, The Thing Yimo Took OU. Although it was just a seat, it was quite a good position and had a table. There were seats on all sides of the table. Yimo was very happy with this. Yimo just sat for a while and Qing'ayu and Mu Xiaoyun came to the lobby. Their cultivation level was too weak and didn't dare to scan around with spirit sense. They only dared to look around for Yimo in the lobby. Mu Xiaoyun was extremely pretty and cultivated for many years at the Immortal Goddess Peak and became even prettier. Qing'ayu even surpassed Mu Xiaoyun. Her perfect body was unique to this world. As soon as they stood in the lobby, they caught many attention. "Two goddesses, I'm Feng Yingwei from the Kangyu God Valley, may I ask if I can help you?" One Dao Molding Divine Emperor saw the two and immediately came up. Qing'ayu smiled. "Thank you Qian Bei, but we don't need your help." "Xiaoyun, Qing'ayu, come here." Yimo got up and called. The two immediately came over happily, leaving behind Feng Yingui, who was going to keep talking. Seeing these two pretty goddesses go over to an immortal emperor, he frowned but didn't go over and instead found a position in the lobby. "Brother Yi, why are you seated here?" Qing'er saw the lobby was filled with thousands of people who were all stronger than her. She felt worried. "Sit, I bought some things here." Then Yimo took out a wine kettle and a few cups, pouring a cup for them. "This is weed immortal wine, small ginseng made it. Try it." Yimo raised a cup and smiled. Qing'er smelled this and couldn't resist drinking. Then, she said in surprise and joy, "Brother Yi, this wine seemed to be able to help with cultivation." Yimo nodded. This was made with corner soul weed and yin blue plum, as well as many top-level immortal spirit herbs. How could it not be good? It could cleanse essence, spirit and immortal essence. Mu Xiaoyun had drank it many times but still loved it. She pointed at the round sign and asked husband, "Is the first sign what we're going to buy?" I paid for 2 days of advertisement here. I'll see how it goes first." Yimo thought that if he could get the materials, he would stay here for a year or two and forge flying magic artifact. If he couldn't, he would take them into the void in a few days. "Brother Yi, the ticket might not be easy to buy." Qing'er saw the sign wrote 4 tickets. "I know, I'm only testing my luck." Yimo said. "Good wine. Your wine is probably made from yin blue plum and kuma soul weed, right? The manufacturing process is immaculate, definitely from the hands of a master." As they spoke, a red-faced man walked up to Yimo's seat and saluted with his fists. This was a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor peak stage. Just from his red face, one could see he had drunk a lot of wine. He just smelled the wine and knew of its components. He was definitely a wine lover. If Yimo had the time, he would invite this person to drink, but now Yimo didn't plan to. Seeing Yimo just smile and not talk, this Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor didn't go and laughed. "Immortal friend, I heard you set up the first news, but even if you keep it up there till next year, no one would come to you. If you listen to me, I'm certain people would come to you in a while. Xiaoyun, come sit next to me, let this immortal friend sit." Yimo said. Mu Xiaoyun quickly sat next to Yimo. Seeing this, the Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor sat down and smiled. "I'm Xian Yushua. I'm going to the Void Marketplace to test my luck too." Yimo took out a cup and poured him a wine and said, "So it's immortal friend Shenyu. I'm Yimo. I don't know much about going to the Void Marketplace, please teach me." Qing'er saw that Xian Yushua sat opposite her and quickly got up and sat on Yimo's right. "Thank you, immortal friend Yi." Xian Yushua raised the wine cup and drank. Seeing Qing'er sit next to Yimo, he raised his thumb. "Immortal friend Yi, you have nice skills. But you might not know what the people who want to go to the Void Marketplace want. Those who are going there aren't lacking God crystals. It definitely won't work if you trade materials with God crystals." Yimo realized what the problem with his notice was now. He sighed. It seemed that if he didn't take out some good things, he really wouldn't be able to get the things he wanted. Thinking about this, Yimo said to the goddess, "Change my reward. If one has the materials I want, I'm willing to use a near top-grade god artifact Chengji Extreme Yang Flag or 7-star Huangji Well to trade for it. If there's top-level materials, I'm even willing to use more precious things to trade." Even Xian Yushua was dazed at the things Yimo took out. He didn't expect Yimo, an immortal emperor, to have this many good things. "Immortal friend Yi, you really shock me. Pity I don't have flying magic artifact materials, or I would take it out myself." Xian Yushua sighed and drank the cup. After that, Xian Yushua seemed to have thought of something and got up in shock. "Immortal friend Yi, that Chengji Extreme Yang Flag seems to belong to the sect leader of Duting God sect Wei Xian." Yimo smiled. "Brother Xian is really knowledgeable." "You're right. Then why is it in your hands?" Xian Yushua's hands were shaky. Clearly he was too shocked. "Because I slaughtered him," Yimo said directly. Since he took out some good things, he would need to show his power. Otherwise, he would be very annoyed. Xian Yushua's face showed extreme shock. Even his redness receded a little. He didn't expect this immortal friend Yi was this absurd. He didn't dare to stay here and drink. Before he could say goodbye, Another coarse voice sounded, you want to use the extreme young flag and 7-star Huang Ji well to trade flying magic artifact materials? The voice seemed as though if Yi Mo didn't answer right, he would attack immediately. The powerful force made Mu Xiaoyun and Qing Ayu's face green. A few other divine emperors who were going to ask heard this voice and saw a green-robed old man come. They all subconsciously stopped. Yi Mo raised the cup and the pressure on Mu Xiaoyun and Qing Ayu was easily waved away. After drinking the wine, Yi Mo said slowly, I have these two things, but I'm not trading for flying magic artifact materials but flying magic artifact top materials. If you want my things, I would have to agree to the materials. If you want both of it, you would need to bring the right materials or no deal. Ha 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 ha, a small immortal emperor is very cocky. The green-robed old man sat down on the empty space. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.